because the sync keeps being off and the clock is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah! 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 Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! What? Yeah! Woo! What? Yeah!
Did y'all know it was Friday? Did y'all know it was Friday today? Did y'all know it's Friday on a football weekend? College football week 2 or week 3, NFL football week 2. Did you guys know that we had a game last night? Did you know we have Burns Rebel football tomorrow? We got Gamecocks at Georgia. We got Clemson hosting FAU. Did you know, amigos and amigettes, that it is Friday? Maybe did, maybe didn't, but L.A., Rick, and Steve just let you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
Player. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Happy Friday, my dudes and dudettes. It is ever so good to have you here on the broadcast one more time. Again, of course, I am Rob Brown, that guy over there, the guy that's in charge of the broadcast, the guy that, is in charge of really everything that happens on the radio anywhere at any point ever, is the great one. That's Alonzo.
Alonzo is a superstar.
Yep. Sure is.
I don't need to say anything else. You know, when the people are saying it about you, you don't have to. I mean,
No,
you know,
dog, roll with the
you,
punches.
you know. What's up, yo? It's Friday.
Never fight with somebody who is giving you a compliment. Just accept it and move on, man.
I am not fighting. I deserve all your compliments, and theirs too.
Demand all.
You know why?
gratitude.
You know why you should compliment me, listener? Because I help bring you the awesome Rob Brown. That's why I should be complimented.
I accept that I accept that as a reality, as a matter of fact. What a show we got lined up today, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of things that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today. Of course, we're going to give you, coming up here in just a little while from right now, we are going to get into Furman. We're going to get into South Carolina. We're going to get into Clemson. We're going to get into the Carolina Panthers. And shock of shocks, ladies and gentlemen, there's other footballs that are taking place around the country as well, no matter what Darby might have to say about it. All right, friend of the show, Darby Allen, we appreciate the input. Yep. There's other football we need to get into too. So let's have a little fun. And I'm going to start with, ladies and gentlemen, a topic that is near and dear to my heart, a topic that I love for multiple reasons. Number one, I'm fascinated by it. Number two, I am entertained by it. Number three, it gets under Alonzo's skin. The AI next-gen broadcast on TNF last night was better than the game itself. Because Thursday night football decided, let's Thursday night football from week one. We're not going to ease into this. Let's just go dumpster fire from game number one.
What are you talking about, AI?
Did you watch the alternate broadcast?
No. Oh, okay. Alternate broadcast. Not like an AI generated broadcast.
Correct.
Because that's what, what you said kind of implied for those not in the know like myself. Immediately I thought, oh, okay, this is a precursor to actual people being replaced by artificial intelligence to call football games. And eventually there'll be no football players. There'll just be, people who look like football players.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain just a little bit for those of you that did not check the Amazon Prime Next Gen alternate broadcast and explain a little bit about how it looked, because I, frankly, enjoyed it quite a bit.
So how much of the game did you actually watch?
All of it.
So you weren't just paying attention to the people who are talking about it and everything they're doing, and then like, wait, there's a play just happened.
So they carried the play-by-play of Alan Kirk on top of it, right? It wasn't like they got rid of people as a whole.
So they Mystery Science 3000 it or something?
Nope.
Okay.
So here's what they did, because I am more than happy to explain it because of how much I enjoyed it. Number one, and the most striking difference, Lonzo, was that they actually used a wide field cam, right? So in the regular broadcast, the quarterback takes the snap, and what does the camera capture? The quarterback, the running back, and the line of scrimmage. That's pretty much it. You don't get to see wide receivers run routes or defensive backs try to stop them from doing so unless they're doing it at the line of scrimmage. Once wide receivers get 7 yards down the field, they're out of frame in the regular television angle.
I would
If you
say
followed,
there are a limited amount of people who actually want to see that.
perfect.
But
Why
there's
this is
nothing
an
wrong.
alternate
There's
broadcast.
nothing wrong with that. But
No, I
I'm
do
just
think there is. I think you are missing on any given pass play, the most important people on the field are the
wow,
wide
that
receivers
route was
developing
really
routes.
crisp. They didn't throw
Yes.
in the ball, but wow, that's amazing. I'm just watching this one guy that the ball never comes his way, but this is exciting football.
If you are watching,
It sucks for that guy because he's going to want to fight his quarterback on the sideline for not getting enough balls.
honestly, AJ Brown, I thought was going to fight Jalen Hurts last night. Like I really thought they were going to go. If you know ball, I am going to go ahead and make myself sound like the elitist that Lonzo claims I am, because in this case, I am. If you know ball, you understand what it means for a quarterback to have a wide receiver run a crisp route, run a clean route, and be able to shake a defensive back, as A.J. Brown was struggling to do early in the game before he got the ball, which created a lot of tension and a lot of drama between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. That in the second half was a major part of that football contest. So, I always want a Madden camera angle. I always want the whole field. I want to see the routes the receivers are running for multiple reasons. Number one, it tells me a lot about the game plan of the offense. Number two, it tells me a lot about the schemes of individual wide receivers. It tells me a lot about the game itself. Now, if you don't know ball, you probably don't care that much what the wide receivers are doing until the ball is thrown to them. But if you do
I
know
see
ball,
what you're
what they're
doing there.
doing matters.
If you don't know ball,
Yes.
if you don't understand football,
Right.
if you don't appreciate this,
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
I
I know you're trying to make me sound like the bad guy, but it doesn't work because I'm not backing off of this. If you don't know ball, you don't care what the wide receivers are doing. But if you do know ball, you know that even on a run play, what the wide receivers are doing is massively important to the success of failure
Rob
of any
Brown,
given play.
I played football at the collegiate level. I just want to say I understand all that. So when you say if you don't know ball and you're looking at me, you're looking at the wrong
I'm not
person.
looking at you.
You're actually looking at me right now.
Well, because you're the only person in the room, and otherwise I'm just staring at a ceiling.
Okay.
I guess I hear I'll stare
All right.
deeply and lovingly into the camera at our stream,
At
which you can
at
join
your
at
own self. Yeah.
facebook.com/thefanupstate. So, dear listeners in the box, those of you watching us on the stream around the world, because Lonzo doesn't want me to look at him, that's fine. I'll just stare deeply and lovingly at you with these seductive brown eyes. If you don't know ball, you may not consider what the
It's
wide
just
receivers.
so pretty.
I know. If you don't know ball, then you may not think what the wide receivers are doing on any given play, run or pass, is important. But if you do know ball, you know that it is. You know that what a wide receiver does on the outside can have a massive impact on even what an interior ISO run play ends up turning into. So I have always preferred the wide angle camera coverages of games to show me what wide receivers are doing, what second level defensive backs are doing that are or are not involved in a play. And they gave me that angle, which I thought was phenomenal. I got to see the whole field. And let me tell you how I know that mattered. It ties into the second thing that I very much enjoyed about the alternate AI broadcast. The second thing that it was doing was it was tracking the routes of wide receivers. Before the play started, they would pop a little bubble up on top of the head of every out wide player, and they would tell you who that wide receiver is. And why wouldn't you? Because when wide receivers are on the line, they got the hands up, they're looking sideways. You can't see numbers. So unless you have the body shape, height, and type of each wide receiver memorized for both teams, when wide receivers split out, you don't know who is who. So they popped a little bubble up on top of their heads that said, this is Devontae Smith, this is A.J. Brown, whoever the case might be. And I thought that was great. Then when the wide receivers started running routes, they did like they did back in the end. Remember that failed NHL experiment where they lit up the hockey puck, and when it went around the rink, they had a little laser beam coming out the back so you can follow the puck?
I thought that was really cool, by the way.
I thought it was great. But we were in a big-time minority, Lonzo. Most people hated it. All right? They said it was too distracting. Well, what they did last night was they didn't highlight the player, but as receivers ran routes, they left a little green laser trail on the field so that you could actually track the route. And it wasn't like it was like, this is kind of where the guy went. It followed him step for step. So if they pulled a double move, there was a little zigzag on the green trail, or I think it was blue trail on the field, so that you can see where the receiver ran the route and you can watch the DB adjust to that. I thought that was fantastic. And then the cherry on the top of the cake for me as a sports nerd was that AI, as the routes were being run, after being trained by watching how many hours of football, AI was calculating the probable completion percentage of every receiver running a route throughout the course of the play. And if a player got, I don't know exactly what the number was, but if a player's completion percentage or completion probability percentage went over a certain point, a little green circle lit up under their feet and basically said, this is the guy who is the most likely to complete a pass or have a pass completed to him if the quarterback throws the ball right now. And it would jump around, like the route would start. And if there was one guy out wide that a DB was playing cushion coverage on, and on the other side it was a press man, the circle would start with that guy. And if that guy hit a double move and the cushion receiver or the cushion defender stepped up and he was able to get behind him and he became the high probability target, the little green circle would jump over to that guy. And it would let you see, is the quarterback throwing the ball to the guys that have the highest possible probability of catching it? And sometimes the answer was yes and sometimes no, but you got to see that play out. I thought all of that was fantastic as a guy who knows ball, as a guy who enjoys watching all of the different parts of ball play out. I thought that presentation was great, but they did not have AI calling the game. They just carried the audio of Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. So you were still getting the traditional play-by-play with one exception. They had the head nerd. They had the head AI nerd who they play a little sounder, and he would pop on in a little PIP box in the bottom of the screen, and he would explain what the AI is seeing or what everything on the screen meant. And he would talk about how Philadelphia ran the ball on one drive. They ran the ball like 14 out of 17 plays or something.
Gee,
I
wonder why they had to do that though.
Because a lot of people don't understand
that Minnesota's defense is horrible and easy to run against.
Oh, God, they were trash last night. We're going to talk about the game itself, but I wanted to get into this. So the little guy would pop into the box and be like, all right, when the AI does this, it means this, and this number means this, and this trail is for this. And he would explain it all as we went along, and he'd pop in for 15 seconds. It was like VH1's pop-up video, but explaining AI.
Okay, was he an actual person?
Yep.
Or was, okay.
No, it was a real dude. It was the dude who programmed the AI, either that or he was a T2000. But it was the dude who
did he wear glasses and a pocket protector?
He did. He was genuinely a nerd. Genuinely popped up. I'm like, who's this nerd? Right? And for the record, say that about me, and you're still correct. I was like, who's this nerd? And then he would explain it. It was great. But here's the thing that sold me on it. Okay? Here's what sold me on this alternate broadcast. The fiancée said to me about halfway through the day yesterday, she said, I know you want to watch Thursday Night Football. So can we go in the bro cave today during Thursday Night Football, and can we get some wedding planning stuff done? And I said, yeah, what do you want to do? And she gave me the list of stuff she wanted to do. She wanted to finish designing the save the dates, and she wanted to everybody's got to have the Knot website now, KNOT, the Knot, the KNOT website.
Wasn't
4 Lonzo.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's been rolling through town right now.
That kind of day. So that's a normal thing. I'm talking about the Knot thing.
Everybody does this now.
Okay.
So basically, it is.
I'm coming up on my 31st anniversary, so what do I know?
This is post your time.
Everything was done on paper back then. So.
Everybody getting married now, you go to the Knot, and it basically is a way. It builds a little website for you, and then you basically fill in. Like, here's the vendors we're using. It tracks them all for you. Here's the wedding guest invite list, so you can tell who you've sent invitations, blah, blah, blah. She's like, can we fill this out? Yeah. She goes, here's your task tonight. I want you to write our story, right? I want you to write our story because you got a little spot on the website where you put it, Robbie and Courtney met in 2020 on March 12th, which is true, by the way.
All right. I'm curious.
The
Did
story
she
isn't
actually,
about this, though, by the
no,
way.
did she actually say, here is your task for
Yes.
this evening?
Yes.
That's a direct
Yes,
quote.
and for the record, that is because I went, what's my task for the evening, right? Like, tell me what I'm a simple man. You tell
Hello,
me
dear.
what I
How
need
are
to
you
do.
this evening? What is my task for
Yes.
this fine night?
Yes, I had a task. Asked what it was. She told me. She said, I want you to write our story, and then I want you to finalize your guest list. And I'm like, done and done. I can do that. Okay. So I'm going through and doing this while we're watching football. And, I put up the 75-inch in the bro cave, which she initially hated. Now she won't leave my damn bro cave, which is great. I love it. And she's sitting on the couch at one point as we're watching this game. And I look over and she's watching the game. She's actually watching the game. Now, she's a football fan, but she's a college football fan, right? The NFL is like, if the Saints are playing, she'll watch it with me. But outside of the Saints playing, she don't really care all that much about the NFL.
So you're not going to point out the real team that she's a fan of.
Correct. She's a Gamecock.
Thank
all
you.
right?
I'm just
She's a Gamecock. So I look over and she's watching the game. She's tuned into the game, and I'm like, hey, what are you seeing here? Right? Like, what's got your interest? And she goes,
Oh, you didn't go Cam Newton on her, did you?
no, not at all.
Okay. All
No.
right.
I'm like, what about this broadcast is different than the rest? Because if we're in the living room watching just a regular Sunday afternoon game, like she's watching TikToks, right? She's scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever. But she was actually kind of plugged into this game. And she's like, what are the little lines behind the wide receiver? So I tell her those are an AI showing you exactly where on the field they ran their route. And she's like, what's the little green dot? And I was like, that's telling you what wide receiver at any individual second of the play is the best receiver for the quarterback to throw the ball to.
Why does this sound like a physics test? I mean, I'm not on there to get all that. I want to watch the actual game.
So watch the game.
And if
it's
you're
still the game.
If you're talking about all these things that appear to me without seeing it to be a distraction.
I mean, if
I
you
mean,
are
it's-
that easily distracted, then it's not for you. And that's
Obviously,
okay.
I can't do more than one thing at once. So it's
You're still watching the game. It's still showing you the
are you?
game. Yes.
are you? Okay.
Yes, they're not augmenting the reality any further than green light on field, followed by green dot mean good throw. That's it. That's what it means. If
Thank you for
that's-
simplifying for me because I appreciate that.
If that's too much for you, then yes, no, this broadcast is not for you. Sure, without a doubt.
It really does sound like a broadcast for nerds. It does.
I'm
I
not
mean,
arguing it's not.
and not just football nerds, but just a nerd.
So I asked her, I'm like, what's got you plugged into this game more than most? And she's like, the lines in the field and like the green dot and the percentages that they're showing and all that. And I go, okay. So a couple of plays later, they show I want to say it was AJ Brown on a catch, but he ran a double move, right? Which is you go 5 yards, 7 yards, so whatever the route is, and then you fake a cut to the outside, you try to get the DB to jump outside, then you cut inside, or you fake inside and then run to the sideline, you try to get them to jump inside while you run outside, whatever it is. They threw a double move, and the little line on the field did like a little squiggly. And she's like, why did it go squiggly like that? I said, well, he ran a double move. What's that? I said, all right, so basically when you're setting up as a wide receiver, you're going to run down the hash. And in this double move, which was to the inside, what AJ was going to do
What'd
there.
you just do when you said hash?
Bruh,
Okay, all right.
it's a
I
hash, man.
I thought I saw that.
I said, so he's going to run down the hash mark. And so what he's going to do is he's going to throw his body to the outside. He's going to try to get the defensive back to make him think that he's running to the sideline on what we call an out route, which is you go up and then you go out. But after he throws that fake, he's hoping the DB is going to jump to the outside to try to get in front of him and cover that route. And then instead, he's going to run back inside. And she said, why? And I said, because if he can get the DB outside and then run inside, the DB is behind him, which means the quarterback can throw in front of him. And that means the DB has no way to block that pass. All he can do is basically tackle the guy and get a pass interference. And she's like, oh, that really makes sense. I did not know that. And so for the rest of the game, as this game's going on, she would point out when wide receivers were making double moves because we had the whole field and you could see the receivers running routes. She'd be like, oh, he did it there. Yes, he did. That's a double move. Great. We get to the end. She's like, I learned more about football from this broadcast than I've learned in my whole life. Right. just because of the stuff that they were highlighting, that if you don't know ball, never makes its way into your orbit. They were teaching you
You
the
did
ball.
it again, Steven.
Yes, I was. If you don't know what a double route is, you learned last night. You learned. She didn't know what a double route was. And now I promise you, when we sit down tomorrow to watch Georgia, South Carolina on the big screen, anytime that Juice Wells or Xavier Legette hits a double move, she's going to be like, double move, double clothesline. She's going to know what it is and why he's doing it and how that impacts the offense. She learned a lot about that game from that alternate broadcast, and I think that's great. And this segues to another alternate broadcast that's coming up, and one that I'm really interested in. And 2 or 3 weeks, I don't remember when, there's an Atlanta game. I want to say that they're playing Jacksonville. I'll look up the details right now. I don't exactly remember all of them. But on October 1st, it is Atlanta v. Jacksonville. Bang. Thanks, memory. We're getting old, but we got it together. On October 1st, Atlanta's playing Jacksonville. And on Disney Plus, there's an alternate broadcast. Now, it is not an AI broadcast. It's an augmented reality broadcast, and it is a Toy Story themed broadcast. So they're going to show the game, which will be synced up in real time. But in said the game, the field is going to be on the floor of Andy's room from Toy Story. The players on the field are going to be represented by Toy Story universe style NFL players.
This is unrealistic. Andy is like in college now. His floor
Andy
does
done
not
got a
look
wife
like.
and kids.
Yeah.
all right?
I mean, you know.
But Andy in the Toy Story universe is perennially however old he was in that movie. So Toy Story Fun Day Football on Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and NFL Plus, which is taking place. It is the Wembley game, so it is the morning game, Atlanta v. Jacksonville. If you've got a kid, let's say they're 3, 4, 5 years old, they're like getting into football. They like football because mom and dad like football, but they don't really know football, right?
It's a good question, Keegan. I think you're probably right.
Good question. It is a good question. We'll come to that in a minute. They're going to do an augmented reality broadcast. So as things are happening on the field, it's going to be fed into a computer. The computer is going to animate the football players on the field, on the floor in Andy's room that is going to be broadcasted. So if you've got a 4 or 5 year old kid who's like, you're working on indoctrinating them, like you're trying to get them indoctrinated into football so they grow up to be a fan with you, right? But they're not there yet. Right? When my nephew was like 4 or 5, like me and my brother are trying to get him into the world of football, but you were not keeping his attention for 3 hours with an NFL game. But now, when the plays are being played by toys on a floor in a kid's room, and occasional commentary is going to be provided by Buzz Lightyear and Woody, right? Then you're probably going to do a better job of keeping these kids' attention. It's another alternate broadcast. The point of all of this is alternate broadcast, I think, are just broadcasts now. Right? You got McAfee on the sideline at Texas, Alabama, doing effectively a McAfee show, but during a football game. You've got the Manning cast on Monday Night Football, interviewing John McEnroe and Marshawn Lynch. Everybody's doing alt podcast or alt broadcast now. And I think the StatCast, the next gen StatCast on Thursday Night Football has just become my favorite so far. But McAfee's is dope. I will listen to McAfee before I listen to most, not all, but most college football play-by-play guys. I will watch the Manning cast before I listen to the Monday Night Football booth. They're great. And I think we've hit the point where they are now the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to take a break. Did you watch that game last night? Texter says, Rob, your fiance will also learn what a pick six is tomorrow. Go Dogs. I'm gonna let her handle that.
Best quarterback on the field tomorrow, Spencer Rattler.
That is 100% correct. That ain't even a joke. That's not even a hot take. That's a fact. Texter says, always marry a Gamecock girl. They have low expectations and are used to heartbreaks and get excited over the little things. She's going to beat my when I get
It's
home.
all right. There's a Clemson comment, but we ain't going to go there.
You know where we'll go?
You're really loose on going to this break. I just want to tell you that.
We will go to break. And I will Lanzo in Fuego on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
All right, dudes, we're back. Somebody
That's good.
on the stream yesterday, I think I do remember. I think it was Steven,
I
actually.
think it was Steven.
Said that my
Like
hair is
those-
approaching General Anakin Skywalker levels, and
The-
I take that as the
The
highest.
red
compliment.
is showing up a little, but the
Yeah.
white not at all.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I'm changing that in the background. I don't know that I can. Make it.
I'm also curious if the lasers running around it are causing it to focus on that and not what's in between. I don't know. If only we had the AI person from that alternate broadcast to look at our thing and tell us, or perhaps someone who majored in TV or something.
Somebody who majored. Oh, look at that!
Did you get it?
Super dark, but look at the stream now.
There we go. Will that affect the regular TV whenever
Yep.
so you're
So I
gonna
have
have,
to fix it at the end of every show,
yes.
but that's okay.
Still got a little glare, but
It's gonna be what it is. Well, I mean, I can close the middle panel, and it'll take it away.
if that's what you think you need to do, I like looking at the outside and yes, it is one big one.
It does fix the TV.
It does. Now you may have to. Can you function with this much light?
I actually prefer it. Daddy, I thought you preferred dark rooms. Or is it
I
just
do.
that?
I was concerned
yeah.
about you.
No,
I
I'm
asked
good with
about
this.
you.
I'd say we're making big plans over here, Lonzo, because I want you to know we were talking about the alternate broadcast, and we're going to get away from that here in just a minute. But I do have one more thing that I need to say about it. First off, the new background with that TV. Now that we see it and we have it set correctly, I kind of like it, Lonzo.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you were worried about you looking pasty.
Now I
look
look
at
super
look
pasty,
at look
right?
at you now.
Yeah.
It's like the sun
I look
shining
like
on
I
your
look like a
face.
Twilight vampire, and that's not good.
It's just so sparkly.
There we go. That's better.
Is it?
Now we're just yeah, but we
Now it's like Robin cartoon.
we
That's
set
great.
we set the mood on the show now, right? All right. So
Ja-
alternate broadcast.
James says the sun is defeated. I suppose it is.
Take that, son. Last thing I'll say about the alternate broadcast. I got into a conversation on Wednesday night with P1 Keegan. And because he went to the Star Wars Medal show with me. We got into a conversation about alternate broadcast, to which we both said, I really enjoy them. Our buddy Andrew came over. He said the same thing, really enjoy the alternate broadcast. So we have a plan in action right now, Zoe, that I'm very excited about. We're going to see if it works or not. But the plan in action is in 3 or 4 weeks, I think it's 3 weeks, there is a Wednesday night Greenville Triumph match. It's on the road. Now, unfortunately, it does start late in the evening. It's like a 10 o'clock kick because they're out in Arizona taking on a Fuego. But I think we're going to try Great One in an alternate Rob Browncast. We're going to call it the Riot Cast after the Reedy River Riot Supporters Club. But me and a couple of the guys from the Supporters Club, Doug and Chris from the Triumph. I don't know if Chris knows this yet or not, but Doug and Chris from the Triumph. And then we'll be joined by guests like the Manning Cast does throughout the broadcast, including former goalkeeper Dallas J. We'll stop by. We talked to, got a conversation with
I
him.
was going to ask you if you've contacted the powers that be about that as far as legality goes. And
We're not going to
things?
show the game.
Okay.
It's just going to be,
All right.
you can watch the game on your TV at home and then sync us up with it, right? So we can't show the game, but we can just
So
broadcast
it's-
us watching the game.
It's more of a watch along.
Yeah,
more so than
effectively.
okay.
Yep.
All right. All
It's
right.
instead of an alternate broadcast, it's going to be a watch along. The screen will be us, but it'll be a watch along with everybody involved. And we're going to give that a shot. And if that works, then I think maybe we start organizing more Rob Brown Show watch alongs. We're going to start it with the Triumph. We're going to have some former Triumph players come by, maybe a coach or two. We'll have a couple of other soccer celebrities from around the area. I've reached out to some even higher powers about maybe getting some bigger names in the world of footy to join us on the show. We're gonna give it a shot. And if that works, we're gonna try to move on to other stuff. We may try to do a watch along for some Furman games, some South Carolina games, some Clemson games, some Panthers games. Right? We're gonna see how it goes. But I think the alternate broadcast is the is kind of the future now, man. I really do. Like I'm sold. I'm bought in. 844-326-3663. That's the phone number, 844-326-3663. You can text us on the carpros.com text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with fan. I am curious for any of you that checked it out. For any of you that checked it out, did you watch the Next Gen AI broadcast last night? And if you did, how did you feel about it? Because I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. I thought they gave you a different angle than you're traditionally used to watching. I thought it opened up the field. It let you see more of the players and the plays they make and how they impact the plays on the field. I thought the breakdown of the routes receivers were running, giving you the tails to see not just that they ran a 7-yard this or a 10-yard that, but to show you the setup, where they sped up, where they slowed down, where they cut in, where they cut out. I thought that was great. I thought them showing you the highest probability throws as they played out in real time and getting the perspective of is the quarterback making good decisions or not was phenomenal. And then, of course, carrying the traditional play-by-play so you can mix the two. I thought was a great call with the AI nerd popping in every now and then to kind of explain what you were watching since this was the first Next Gen broadcast. I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday on a football weekend, which means we have a lot of things that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today. So here is what we're going to do. We are actually going to go to a break on time. Shocking. I know, perhaps even a minute or 3 early, because when we come back, Lonzo and I lock it in. We're going to give you our picks for South Carolina, Georgia. We're going to give you our picks for FAU, Clemson. We're going to give you a look at the lines, at the props. We're going to give you our final score prediction, tell you which teams cover, which teams don't. We talk South Carolina. We talk Clemson. We talk Georgia and FAU when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. The great ones on the ones and twos. We're talking college ball when we return on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate. There's not much I love more than the face of confusion from Lonzo when I do something.
No.
correct.
This has nothing. Well,
Oh.
that was theater. Just have
That
some.
was theater.
Yeah, just concerns about something. We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong. That's exactly what that means, Steven.
No, it is not.
Going to be a year. Absolutely going to be a year. Moten. Rob's all about the long teas. You know, we gave you a taste of something, and now you're just going to have to wait. You're going to wait till the voices cry out so loudly that it has to happen again. Meanwhile, our people are perpetually locked in battle. Actually, I think we had just finished
No,
the
you
battle.
just finished.
Like anyone else remembers.
You had just finished. You had fought. You had met a man trapped inside of a house. You had a conversation with him. You then get engaged in battle with 7 skeletons, if I recall correctly. The source and origin of which you guys had not discovered yet.
Come on, Steven. Rob's not about the peoples.
Precisely
He's
and
not.
exactly 0 investigation before you all just started Eldritch blasting everything in a 10-mile radius.
We knocked on the front door, if I recall.
You knocked on the front door of the house the guy was in. You met the guy. Then you came outside. The skeletons started showing up. And then you were like, no.
Yeah, but we know why the skeletons showed up. So
You do?
Yes.
Interesting.
because someone used wild magic and it caused the skeletons to appear, and they don't have control over their magic,
Okay.
which is why you don't bring a little girl with you on a trip.
Okay.
So
Who
anyway,
says you did?
exactly.
I've just decided I'm just going to feed into your conspiracy theories. It's more fun for me.
That's like real life, though, isn't it? Aliens are real.
Ray
Birds
Indigo
are fake.
will return. But yeah, Stephen, with my 48 jobs, it does make it a bit of a struggle.
Of course, if you would like to petition the company to give Rob a major raise so he could like drop some jobs, you go right
I
ahead.
accept.
It's not
I accept.
it's not going to work.
I accept.
But, you know,
Dun, 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 dun,
I feel like I'm
dun.
back working at night. I am completely shocked that you're willing to go this far for the logo. Because this is how most of us, when no one was in
Live
the
your
building,
lives.
except I'd have the shades up.
Yeah.
But still.
Here's my question, stream. Does it look too bad? Because I just realized like the TV shows up now, but like everything back here is washed out. Like there's got to be a happy medium, right? I wonder if we turn the lights up now that the
Please don't turn them up all the way. That does work, by the way.
like there's good.
That works, yes. But let's see what happens when you sit down and the camera focuses on you. Don't mess with mine. Mine's fine. Okay.
There's still a bit of glare.
That happened because of the light. Or maybe it's that. Okay, it was that. The last vestige of daylight has been taken from me. Although this is kind of like what it is in the office.
Yeah,
so,
this
I
is
mean,
very
it's-
Fortress of
yeah,
Nerd
yeah, it
TV.
is. So,
All
because
right, I feel like this is
the lights
a-
give me headaches.
How do you guys feel about the studio look? I feel like this is good. Yeah, like this is not bad, right? Nice little logo spinning over the shoulder, like I'm a professional. I'm not, but I play one on TV. I play one on the internet.
Yeah, I'm perpetually an amateur, so I don't care. Yes, it would have been easier to jump scare him in the dark, but not really. People just walk in the door, and that does that. So, I mean, it's the truth.
My fiance, who I love and adore, last night, nope, sorry, not before last, when I got home from the Star Wars show, got home, changed, put on the PJs, went in the room for a little while, came out at 1:15 in the morning. I came out of the bro cave to go to bed. I walked in the room. She was not in bed. She jumped out from behind the freaking dresser and scared the crap out of me. I went to the bathroom. I came back in the room, and she did it again and got me both times. I couldn't go to sleep for another hour and a half. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking football this segment. That's how I feel, too. Tiny man in the computer. FAU will be traveling to take on the Clemson Tigers coming up tomorrow evening. Listen, it's not going to be a game, okay? It's not going to be a game. It could be an interesting first half. I think it's got a lot of similarities to... Real quick, Lonzo, you want to spin that TV around real quick and take a look at what my boy Desmond is wearing right now on ESPN? Just take a look at what Dez has got going on up there in Boulder. Is that a gigantic ascot? I feel like it is.
Dude, you want me to comment on a Michigan guy? I no.
That's true. You would dunk on him if he was the best dressed man in Colorado.
I don't need to dunk on him. He's doing it live on TV without saying a word. Then he'll say words and make it worse.
Wasn't it him last year that picked like A&M and who else was it? Michigan State to go to the playoffs, and everybody dunked on him for the whole year? Justifiably so.
By the way, Daddy-O says Klubnik makes it a game
Klubnik
early.
makes it a game early.
That's right.
Here's the thing.
He does probably. Yeah. You know, do you think that this is Clemson thinking, oh, this is a gimme, so I don't have to try so hard?
No.
Or are they trying their very hardest and they're just while Cade is struggling.
So here's my thoughts on this game. I told you guys on Wednesday.
By the way, you know who wouldn't struggle?
DJ. I said this on Wednesday. I'm sticking by it now. This is the most important, not the best, not the most competitive, maybe not even the most, influential. It is the most important game Clemson has played in a while. But Rob, it's just Florida Atlantic University. And I'm aware that it is FAU. But I'm going to tell you why it is the most important game Clemson has played in some time. And the reason that it is the most important game that Clemson has played in some time to me is very, very simple. The reason it's the most important game Clemson has played in some time is because this is the game where they get the opportunity to get it cleaned up and get it sharpened up. Next week is a massive game. You got the Noles coming to town. It's a noon kick. And I was thinking about this earlier in the week. The fact that it is a noon kick, Lonzo, and I mean this, I firmly believe is actually a massive detriment to Clemson. It doesn't hurt Florida State as much. Both teams have to play at noon. Both teams have to play in the same circumstances, despite the fact that I do think Memorial is going to be.
So what you're saying is you
game.
also are looking past FAU.
Oh, we're coming to that. The FSU game being at noon means that guys like Joey B don't have 6 or 7 hours of tailgating to bang down whiskey and Cokes. You got an hour.
So it's all about drinking. We've had this discussion before. We don't need to go back. So it really comes down to about the drinking. I mean, you could throw in the food too. I mean, noon games are better.
No.
Absolutely, they're better. Especially if you're going.
I'm not even going to waste my time putting this on a poll because it'll be 89% to you.
If you're going to an ag school, and let's say that ag school, it's very difficult to get in and out of, at least you leave while there's daylight. I mean, so you can look at the cows and stuff and,
all right,
and things.
We're going to come back to that fight later. This game
no, we won't.
Is the most important game that Cade Klubnik has played so far. It is the most important game that Clemson has played in a very long time. And the reason for that is because if this team is not full confidence and full throttle next Saturday, that FSU game is going to be a problem because FSU is full throttle and full confidence right now. Joey B just popped in the chat and he nailed it. He said, agreed. If Klubnik doesn't go into FSU with his confidence high, they're going to get smoked by an FSU team riding as high as they've been since their last natty year. And that is correct.
Listen, they're going to get smoked anyway. We see what Clemson is right now. We see what Florida State is right now. In the past, I've said Clemson is the ACC. That's over. Obviously, it's over. And it all comes down to the fact that you, the fans, whined and cried about the quarterback that you had, and now you got the guy you wanted, and he's just not. He's just not.
So,
and by the way, DJ is killing it where he is.
He had a not as good of a game in week 2 as week 1, but still a pretty
Did he
good
have
game.
a better statistical game than Cade did?
Yes. So, this game is mucho importante for that exact reason. It is not so much about making sure you beat FAU. It is about making sure you beat FAU. It is about domination. It is about making sure you click. It is making sure that your offense is executed well. It is about making sure that your offensive playbook is opened. If you're just going to fall back on screens and draws again, then yes, FSU is going to kill you because the bread and butter for FSU is in creating pass rush at Jared Verse's level across the front four, forcing your QB to make mistakes and throw into very, very, very good defensive backs. If Cade Klubnik against FAU is not crisp, is not competent, is not reading, is not diagnosing, and is not executing, then the Florida State game becomes that much more daunting. But if you come out and the errors that cost you the Duke game, if you come out and the errors that kept you in a game with Charleston Southern for the first half are gone, then I feel a lot better since this game is at Clemson. This is massively important. The turnovers have got to go away.
By the way, it's worse since it's going to be at Clemson because you're going to hear the boo birds like you did last time we were at Clemson. This shouldn't be a get right game. It should be a shore a few things up. But the last 2 games are get right games because they're struggling with things. Do you build up a false sense of confidence if you get everything right in this game and then you go to a game that really matters and get your butt whipped? If he gets everything right and he goes in that game and they get destroyed by Florida State, it's going to be a problem the rest of the season. They may just pack it in.
I think that if they get right in this game, Cade Klubnik on the season, just so we're all clear, 55 of 80. That is a 68.8% completion percentage. He has thrown for 524 yards. He's averaging 6.6 yards per completion. He has thrown for 5 TDs, 2 interceptions, and a 139.4 passer rating. That, ladies and gentlemen, is fine. In fact, it's above fine. That's pretty good overall. SC Country just popped in here into the stream with a big Tiger Paw logo. And he said, besides the turnovers, his stats are great. Just got to clean up a couple of things up. And I don't disagree, though I would ask the
besides
question.
those turnovers at Duke, it wasn't that bad. But, Duke won the game, didn't they?
He has thrown in this season, has Cade Klubnik. He has thrown a total of 2 interceptions. 2 through 2 games. Now, you can't average a pick a game. That's not great. But it's 2 picks. Granted, it's against lesser competition. And if you're throwing a pick against Duke and Charleston Southern, yes, what Florida State can do with their defensive backs does get scary. The point here is it is not the unmitigated disaster that a lot of people are making it out to be right now. It is,
but it is for a Clemson fan because they had delusions of national championship this year, and those are gone.
I don't think it's a delusion, and I don't think they're gone.
Rob, Florida State going to win?
As of today, yes.
Then they're gone.
If Florida State wins, yes, they're gone. But Florida State has not won yet. I'll tell you when.
How many Clemson fans have the confidence that Clemson is going to beat Florida State as of today, even before the game tomorrow? How many of them have that confidence?
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. What I'm saying is, if Clemson comes out tomorrow and they win this game 63-0, then I go, okay.
That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. And they have not done to me what they were supposed to do. They did not do what they were supposed to do against Duke. I have said how many times I think Mike Elko has put together the best Duke team in the history of Duke football. But Clemson is still should have beat him by 2 touchdowns. All right. 52 4 and 5 stars versus 2 on Duke's roster in week 2. Charleston Southern, yes, they ended up winning that game by a more respectable score. They ended up winning that game 66-17, but the first half of that game was not it. It wasn't it. You had to run starters out in the second half because Charleston Southern hung around longer than you'd like. FAU is better than Charleston Southern, and not like a little bit. Like they're dramatically better. They're still nowhere near even Duke, but they're dramatically better. So the point here is, if this team comes out and we're not just leaning on draws and screens, we're opening up the offense, you're getting the ball to the outside, you're running the ball well and forcing a defense to play laterally so they can't just create pressure and force mistakes out of Cade Klubnik because he's in a hurry, and they can win this game. And it's, yeah, sure, let's say, I don't know, 66-13 or whatever, but you win that game 66-17, and it was never close, right? The thing about this game against Charleston Southern is, for a lot longer than you would have liked, that game felt like it was close. It was 14-14 at the end of the first quarter. It was 24-17 at the half. It was a 1-score game until Clemson put up 28 in the third.
All right.
You got to have your third quarter of last week be your first quarter of this week for me to even think this team can compete with FSU, and for that team to believe that it can compete.
All right,
with
so
FSU.
that was my question. What would Clemson have to do tomorrow to make you think they can beat Florida State? And I would say nothing.
Do what they did in the third quarter, in the first quarter.
How about
open with a rip?
Like all the quarters.
Yes.
I mean,
But do it out of the gate. Open up the offense, Work the outside, make last week's third quarter this week's every quarter. You do that, and I'll go, okay, the team's still got talent. It's not poorly coached. I might disagree with some of the decisions Dabo's made away from the football field, but on the field, when he lets his coordinators coordinate, they're not a poorly coached football team. If they can make their third quarter last week, their first, second, third, and fourth quarter this week, then I go, okay, they're in the game. I still think FSU's better. I still think they're going to be the favorites going in. I told you that preseason. You're welcome. But at least I will go, okay, they got a shot. It's going to take a puncher's chance, but they got a shot, and the team will believe that too. Let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Hour 2, we got Carolina talking more on the Fan Upstate.
I think we all know, James, if you Bo leave, that's taking it up a level.
I miss Bo. Bo was fun for a while there.
He was back for a while, but because he was Uncle Howdy. There appears to be some sort of tension in this room. I don't know why. Maybe there's an email or something I'm unaware of. I mean, there was no official statement, Seth, but there are a lot of pictures and things that, you know. I guess it depends on how much you believe in certain sites.
Wow, Duke Energy. How'd you get them to do that? It was easy. Just look up the SmartPath program. Duke Energy can help cover the cost of energy-efficient upgrades for your business. Visit Duke-Energy.
Even the National Enquirer is right sometimes. Now, if it was TMZ, I would absolutely believe it right away. Best investigative reporters on the planet.
Twice a week, we're going to break down the NFL after Thursday night football and Sunday night football. It's every team. It's every
What are you doing, man? It will only go down so low.
No, I'm bringing it back up because my fiance's in the parking lot for some reason. But it's a picture of me.
available when you wake up every Monday and Friday morning throughout the football season. The Odyssey app.
Perhaps she's doing a radio ad for the place of business that she works for. Because they do those things, and she has some knowledge about that stuff. I'm just saying. Do not panic. Everything's okay.
Do not panic.
Maybe she just come up to hang out.
Sent picture 9 minutes ago, so whatever she's doing.
Yeah. I didn't mean hang out with you. I mean, she does know some other people here. I saw a match where you were giving headbutts, but it didn't look like it hurt
Oh, she's at the Dennis Sleep people.
Oh, okay. So not over there getting a sandwich.
No, she's got some. She did her at-home sleep study the other day.
Oh, okay.
If Meltzer said it, I immediately disregard it.
And my comment was, the Inquirer gets things right every once in a while too. So
That's exactly right.
I think Meltzer is just Schefter. Handed things by the companies saying, say this. Look, there's Travis Kelce doing the DX thing and Chris Jones doing it too. What do you know? No, actually, he went self high five.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the fan upstate.
Yeah.
How do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Friday. Who cares?
I was trying to get them simultaneous. Blame me. It's my fault.
Who cares? We're just having a good
It's
time today.
never a bad time to.
Yeah. CarPros.com text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Texture says, Rob just said we have Carolina talk next, so I'm assuming that means North Carolina, right? Because we all know who the real Carolina is. Just making sure. I mean, bragging rights belong in Chapel Hill right now.
Well, that's a Clemson fan saying that, and bragging rights for that particular game belong in Columbia.
That is also correct.
31-30.
Texter said FSU is not unbeatable. They literally started the same last year. They literally did not, Texter. Literally last year, they beat a less talented LSU team by a single point on a lucky-ass blocked PAT at the dying gasp of the game. This year, they dominated a much better LSU team into complete and total submission. There was very, very different outcomes. The record book says the same. FSU defeats LSU. But if you watch that game, and Lonzo, if you know ball, you know that there were two dramatically different outcomes. Tommy, Texas Joe, said, diehard Clemson fan here. With that said, y'all have the best sports talk show on the radio. Thank you, Tommy.
We appreciate that, but we already knew that, Tommy, because we are the two-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Show of the Year. The show that when people are in town who have their own big shows, they listen to this show. That's what they do.
They told me.
Exactly. Firsthand knowledge.
One told me.
Yeah, but
So that's cool.
when you're so good, you're collectively a they, which he could be.
Correct. All right. All right. Let's get into some stuff. Let's start, ladies and gentlemen, with the South Carolina, Georgia game. I have given you what I think are my keys to the game, or at least what South Carolina can do to at least give themselves a chance, because a chance is the best that I can offer the Gamecocks in this game. Is a chance. It's the best that I can come up with. It is going to take a day of perfection from the Gamecocks, and with a game of perfection, they have a chance, and it's a small chance at the best. This is still Georgia, and while it is not the Georgia team that played last year, I would like to harken back to the Georgia team that played last year, a Georgia team that, Lonzo, agree or disagree, was better than this year's Georgia team.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
They had some players that did really well.
Guys like Jalen Carter, who, by the way, has been beast mode the last 2 weeks. Beast mode week 1, had himself a night last night for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, they were better last year than they are this year, without a doubt. last year, I would like to take you back just a moment to a game that they played last year. Last year, the University of Georgia, your eventual national champions, your current reigning, defending, undisputed national champions, they had themselves a game where they traveled to Columbia, Missouri. And they took on a Missouri Tiger team that, frankly, was pedestrian, average, whatever you want to call it. They were a very average football team. And Georgia was in, at 7:30, the fight for their lives against the Missouri Tigers. They walked out of there, Alonzo, with a 26-22 win against the Missouri team that, again, was not that good. It can be done. It can be done. Last year, Kent State, who has gotten a surprising amount of representation on the show this week, had the Golden Flashes.
Yeah, I think you said it at least 37 times
Yeah.
yesterday. At least.
The Kent State Golden Flashes have been well represented on the Rob Brown Show this week.
Your enunciation is impeccable when it comes to that university.
Thank you. The Kent State Golden Flashes put 22 on the board. Now, again, a lot of that came late in the game, and Georgia was kind of easing off the gas pedal a little bit, but they put some on the board. Last year, at the end of the year, when Georgia was, at this point, doing everything they could do to make sure that they were still alive for an SEC championship game, they played a game in Lexington, Kentucky against the Wildcats, a team that South Carolina beat last year. And again, they did it when Kentucky did not have Will Levis. And yes, you can say what you want. That is a game-changing reality. But South Carolina got that win over Kentucky. Kentucky beat Georgia Georgia beat Kentucky 16-6. If Missouri and Kentucky and Kent State were able to at least make those games interesting at the least and competitive at the very best, Mizzou, against the Georgia Bulldogs, South Carolina can do the same. Now, let me be abundantly clear about this. Yes, I did recognize that too, Seth. Little American nightmare there in the cadence. Greenville. Let me be abundantly clear. I did not know I could do a Cody Rhodes. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are for the next 2 hours.
What do you want to talk about? Let me be abundantly clear here. When it comes to the Georgia Bulldogs, it's hard times out there, Daddy. Okay? And Shane's just a son of a football coach. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, let's be for real now. When it comes to the Dogs, two things have to happen. Number one, South Carolina has to have the perfect day. They have to have the perfect scheme. They have to have perfect play calling. They have to have perfect execution. And on top of that, they also have to have the Georgia Bulldogs have an off day. They just do. Have to catch Georgia on an off day. If Georgia is not on an off day, South Carolina can play the best football in the history of that program, and I don't think they can win this game. Okay? Georgia is on that level. And I know some of you guys are going to harken back to, 2014, when Steven Garcia and the boys welcomed Alabama to Columbia and walked off the number one team? But do you understand why you remember that game and you don't remember those games like it? Because that was it, dude. That's it. Now, that's not it.
I remember games like that because I was doing a sports show across from someone who was a Clemson fan, and he had to be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big game. But that's why that is that game. That's why that is that game. And there's not a whole bunch of those games because it is way the exception, not the rule. It's like winning the lottery. It's going to happen every now and then. Statistically speaking, it's never going to happen to you. And statistically speaking, it's never going to happen to someone you know. That's how improbable it is. You catch the Dogs on a day the Dogs are having a good day, and you're going to be in trouble. But the Dogs can have a bad day. They had a bad day against Mizzou last year. They had a bad day against Kentucky last year. Those two games were a hell of a lot closer than anything else Georgia did. The same team that won the Natty in a game that they won. What was the score? 317-4 was the final against TCU, if I recall correctly, or at least it could have been.
I can't go without mentioning that they were lucky to be there.
Sure, maybe
So-
they played a good team and they had
No,
their.
they played a great team, and the great team missed a field goal, and because of that, they were
did,
there.
They did. It was
And
pretty.
that
pretty
team
awful.
that had a bad field goal would probably have boat raced
also would have beat
TCU.
TCU.
Yes,
They also would have beat TCU.
but good news is that offensive coordinator is now at Clemson. But anyway,
So, ladies and gentlemen, South Carolina has a few things they can do. I've given you my keys. I'll run through them real quick. The first is move the pocket. Do not get into a head-to-head trench warfare battle against the front line of the Georgia Bulldogs, because while they are not what they were last year, they are still pretty good across the front seven on the defensive side of the football. They have got some guys out there that are going to be NFL picks, I think. Michael Williams at the left side defensive end. Nazir Stackhouse, Zion Logue, Chaz Chambliss. This is your front three as they go with a 3-4 this year. These are dudes who are dudes. They are good. They are going to be good. You do not want to get into a battle with these dudes. What you want to do is make these dudes run and 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 run. I need them moving laterally as much as they move horizontally. I need them running left and right as much as they are running north and south. I need them getting chipped by a guard and then ridden to the sideline, because that is what the entire offensive line is doing. Now, to do that, your offensive line has got to be perfectly in sync. If your center and your right guard start moving left because you're shifting the pocket that way, and your right guard is not in the back pocket of the center, a massive hole opens up, and Spencer Rattler will be murdered in cold blood in the middle of the field, because that's how aggressive they are up front. So what I need is not just the pocket.
your
moving left and
analogies
right,
are so violent, man.
because
Scale it
Georgia
back.
is violent. Georgia is violent, and I am scared of them. So when the pocket moves left and right, I need your offensive line to be perfect in terms of making sure that no gaps open up. Then what do I need as Spencer Rattler? I need you guys to orchestrate a system for Spence to be successful. I need you not just rolling the pocket, but I need half the time Spence rolling with it and half the time him rolling against it. I need him rolling with it so that linemen have to stay on their blocks and fight through them to get to Spencer Rattler. And he's got protection that allows him to keep his legs as part of the equation. When the Georgia defensive line gets into the backfield, and they will, I need Spence to already have those legs churning so that he can cut in both directions to get away from it. I also need Spencer Rattler rolling out from the pocket, going against the flow of the blocks. Why? Because I need linebackers to stay honest and be concerned that if they jump into the fray and Spence rolls out naked boot the other way, that he's going to burn him for 7 or 8 or 9 yards and a first down more than he doesn't. And then defensively, I need you to figure out how the hell you are going to get into the face of Carson Beck. Carson Beck is fine. Carson Beck is not what Stet Ben was last year. We have seen Carson Beck as the starter in 2 games. And those 2 games were, of course, against Ball State and the University of Tennessee Martin. The Skyhawks, baby. And, of course, the Ball State Cardinals. Carson Beck has been fine. 44 of 61, 577 yards, a 72% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 164.5 rating. It's good. But again, neither of those teams, Ball State or Tennessee Martin, is South Carolina. So how do you get those numbers to come down? Pressure up front. Pressure up front. You've got to create it. I don't know if you want to go stunts. I don't know if you want to go blitzes. I don't know if you want to go blitzkrieg. I don't know if you want to create confusion, but you've got to make sure that Carson Beck does not have snap, 5 steps, sit in the pocket, sit in the pocket, sit in the pocket, sit in the pocket, deliver. Can't do it. I saw earlier, Zoe, it's related, though, at a different level. Somebody went and ran the averages of Justin Fields' available time in the pocket, right? Justin Fields, on average, behind the Chicago Bears offensive line, is getting like 3.3 seconds in the pocket, which in quarterback terms is for bleeping ever if you are averaging 3.3 seconds per throw. And when he's getting that 3.3 seconds, his completion percentage is like 64, 65. It's good. It's above average. In situations where Justin Fields is getting 2.5 seconds or less, his completion percentage drops to like 40%, right? Carson Beck's going to be in that game. He has not faced pressure yet. I don't know. Let's start with this. I don't know if South Carolina can generate that pressure. I don't know if they have the, pardon the expression, dogs up front to get that pressure on Carson Beck. I'll tell you this. Tonka Hemingway better eat up blocks in the middle, and he better open the field for Stone Blanton, for Debo Williams, for whoever else is going to blast the gap. Because it's really the hope you got. And then you better have somebody absolutely meeting Brock Bowers on every snap. He needs to get hit at the line of scrimmage every snap. Throw the timing of him off. Now, Brock Bowers is the best tight end in college football this year, but he has not gotten nearly as many targets as I would like him to. And part of the reason why is because that timing has not been required yet. They've been able to throw to the outside because they're playing inferior talent. Brock is going to be a factor in this game. So I am going to need South Carolina to make sure that he is getting chipped every time he comes off the line of scrimmage. If he does that, if you do that, you take the chemistry, you take the timing, and you take the best tight end probably in football off the board. And if you are going to succeed, that, my dudes, is the only way to do it. So, South Carolina comes into this game, Lonzo. The line opened at 26.5. It is now sitting at minus 27.5. That means the betting public is on Georgia to cover. I have one question and one statement. The question is Juice Wells 100%? I don't believe that he has been. I know Shano's been telling us he is. I can't imagine a world in which Juice Wells is 100% and getting the limited targets that he's gotten so far this year. Is Juice Wells 100%? Did he take the time this week to get right? And if he did, is Xavier Legette capable of carrying the one roll again so that Juice can get open down the sideline, so that Juice can get open in the middle of the field? If those two things are true, and if the offensive line has any moxie about it, I think South Carolina covers. I am not picking them to win the game. I cannot pick them to win the game. They could have their best day. I can't pick them to win the game. But I think that line is high. I think Georgia's going to win this in the ballpark of 17-20. I think they will get a couple late after they wear down the South Carolina offensive line. Lonzo, I like the Dogs to win, but I absolutely like South Carolina to cover plus 27.5.
I know that I'm wearing a Gamecock jersey right now. I went Gamecocks all week because it's the biggest game this weekend as far as the my favorite teams play. As we talked about yesterday, there's always a chance to win. My magic number is still 52 points. Rattler puts up 52 points. The Gamecocks win the game. Chances are that's not going to happen.
52's a lot, bro.
52, but we talked about how much Georgia has scored the last couple games. It's in the 40s. So if you get 52, you're probably going to win the game. If it becomes a shootout, the better quarterback wins in a shootout. Probably not going to be a shootout. But if it is, 52 points.
That's not unfair. It's really not unfair. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got all that going down for you. I am curious, South Carolina fans, what do you need to see happen? I will tell you right now, over in the stream right now, we have got P Digits, who is a Tiger fan, says, I will take USC Junior with that line. Even the Clemson fans think that this is going to be closer than a 27.5-point game, right? Michael says, do we learn more about Georgia or the Gamecocks in a blowout? Georgia. Because nobody expects South Carolina to be in this game. I think a lot of us expect them to cover 27.5. If they don't cover, I'll say this, though. If they don't cover in this game, I'm going to have a real skewed to the negative perspective of what's happening with this Gamecock program right now. If they can't cover 27.5, I'm going to have the Gamecock fans are going to be real upset with me when we get here Monday because I'm going to be skewing way to the negative if they can't cover 27.5. So I would say, however, we're going to learn more about Georgia because we haven't seen Georgia do anything yet. We've seen Carolina play a ranked Carolina team in the old Carolina v. Carolina Bowl. We saw South take on North, and North got the better, but we saw what the issues were. And the issues looked to be cleaned up last week, but it was against an FCS team in Furman. All due respect to the Dins, I'm all din. South Carolina comes out. The offensive line looks bad. We already knew that. We already saw it. We just got to go, all right, maybe the game against Furman wasn't what we thought. If they come out and cover the game, I'm going to feel great. But I have question marks about Georgia. They are bringing back a lot of defensive starters. We had a texter. Texted thecarpros.com text line at 71307. Start your text with fan. He said Georgia returned at least 9 starters on both sides from last year's team. Upset is not happening. They did bring back a lot of starters from last year. Without a doubt. I'm not arguing that at all, but they also lost a lot, specifically across the defensive front 7. And they are a team that rotates in a lot. So I'm again, I don't think Georgia's as good as they were last year. I don't think they're much worse, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. It is still going to take their worst day in South Carolina's best day, but the Gamecocks should be able to cover 27.5. I got money on that one. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, let's switch to the NFL for just a minute. I'll read this text real quick. Texter said, Saturday will teach us more lessons on the head coaches than the teams. Both Beamer and Sweeney are at a crossroads. Is that a good text, Alonzo? I kind of think it is, to be honest.
What crossroads are they at? Are they both about to be fired? I
think it's more of a cultural crossroads.
Or is it a crossroads is one's on the way up and one's on the way down? I mean, I
think for Shane Beamer, it is a crossroads of we've built the culture, we've built the excitement, but did we forget to build the team in the process? And for Dabo Sweeney, I think is this team on its way down officially?
Although, Rob, you know what happens at the crossroads?
So you're sold to the devil and learn how to play a hell of a guitar.
Deals with the devil.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, over the past few years, the playoff percentage rate of NFL teams to go 0-2 is pretty much nil. So which 0-1 teams have the most pressure on them this week to not go 0-2? We'll take a look at that next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Okay. Why did that stop?
I don't know. I didn't like it. All right, guys, back in just 1 minute. Stick around. I will be right back. So will Lonzo probably, maybe. I don't think he's going to quit.
No, I'm out.
Home. Second time in 5 games.
Who you got?
Ren Golden Hurricanes.
I'll be glad you got them at home.
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Gracias, Babel.
Babbel, language
The caption is, honestly, Sting looks very different without the makeup. That's so simple yet so hilarious. That's wonderful.
Yay, internet.
The internet can be good. It is predominantly a cesspool of terrible, but it can be good.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation.
Oh, Kevin's okay. Kevin.
We haven't seen Kevin in a minute.
Since Buffalo
Since
Bob. Yeah.
Also, I like two-ton puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC or Employee Retention Credit for long is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS and go to step 5. Legal stuff. Innovation Refunds does not provide tax legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals.
He was mesmerized by your question, Stephen. That's what it was.
Yes, I read that. I do not know where the word mesmerized comes from. I will absolutely go find it. Or you can just tell me. That's probably easier for all of us.
Yeah, no one wants to do work. It's Friday. Come on.
I mean, in fairness, my work is football, so
My work is football and basketball, and video games, and comic books, and, aliens, and chupacabras. We talked about goat suckers a couple weeks ago. It was great.
the word mesmerized comes from the last name of 18th century German physician Franz Mesmer, who believed that people and objects are pulled together by a strong magnetic force, which he called mesmerism, because he named it after himself. What kind of jerk names something after themselves?
I know.
You know?
Welcome into the Rob Brown Show.
The Rob Brown Show continues, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonso with you on a beautiful Upstate Friday morning. Join the live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. All different ways that you can be a part of the broadcast. Go behind the scenes with Lonzo and I during the break. We have conversations off the air we don't have on it. It's fun. It's goofy. We got a host of people at Michael and Keegan and P Digits and SC Country and Steven and Seth are all up in there right now. And we hope that you will join us as well. Lonzo in the National Football League, out of the last 125 teams to go 0-2 to begin the season, 9.6% of them, that is 12, have ended up making it into the playoffs. 12 out of 125 times. That means if you go 0-2 to start the season, you have a less than 1 in 10 chance of still eventually making it into the playoffs. So I have constructed a list, great one, of all the teams in the National Football League that are 0-1. And I would like to ask you and our listening audience the question, which NFL teams are under the most pressure not to fall to 0-2, knowing that 0-2 is nearly a death sentence for the season. 0-2 gives you a less than 1 in 10 chance to make the playoffs. So here are the teams that are 0-1 after week 1. Obviously, because math, it's half the teams in the NFL are 0-1. In the NFC, your 0-1 teams after week 1 are the New York Giants, the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, the Chicago Bears, and the Carolina Panthers. In the AFC, they are the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Chargers, the Denver Broncos, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans, and the Indianapolis Colts. So let's start with the NFC. There are, after week 1, just 5 teams that started 0-1 in the NFC. They are, of course, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Bears, and the Panthers. The Giants are on the road at Arizona. And, of course, that means that Arizona is at home against the Giants. One of those teams will come off the schneid and start 1-1. Seattle is at Detroit. Chicago is at Tampa Bay. And the Panthers are at home on Monday Night Football, taking on the New Orleans Saints. If I ask you what team out of that 5, or maybe what 2 teams, if you'd like to go bananas, has the most pressure to not fall to 0-2, what would your answer be, Great?
As you were telling me those, I'm not sure if any of those teams are going to win.
The Giants are at Arizona.
I'm not. I don't know for sure that the Giants can beat Arizona. They probably should, but I don't know for sure. This is hard, dude, because what are the now the AFC is going to be a lot more difficult, but out of all the teams that you named in the NFC, how many of those that are 0-1 did you think would have a shot at the playoffs?
3 at best.
See, I don't know.
3 at best. I would say
I'm going to go because of fan bases and how they react, and I'm going to go with the Giants have to win.
I am going to agree. I think the New York Giants are the team with the most pressure on them. I think especially after you paid Danny Dimes to come in there and gave him that fat stack. And then, of course, you got Saquon Barkley back in healthy. He was expected to be a horse. They were supposed to have a wonderful defense, or at least an improved defense this year. I don't think it's Arizona, because Arizona was expected to tank this year. In fact, we thought they would tank intentionally this year, or at least I did, because they are likely going to go ahead and start looking for their new quarterback. The relationship with Kyler Murray
all I gotta say
south.
is Marvin Harrison Jr., go to Canada. If you have to go to Arizona, go to Canada, dude. Just go to Canada for a year and then come back.
The Cardinals last week gave the Washington Commanders everything they wanted and a little something more in a 2016 L to said Commander. See, I don't think there's any pressure on Arizona because there's no expectations on Arizona. In fact, if there are expectations on Arizona, those are expectations were to lose. I'd say there's
the expectations are only about Call of Duty, but not about the NFL. Yes.
I would say there is a little bit of pressure on the Seattle Seahawks out of the NFC West, but I would say maybe not as much, because the expectation in that division is that the Cardinals are going to tank. The Rams aren't going to be good. Of course, the Rams are 1-0 after week 1.
They look all right.
They absolutely are. And that this was effectively Seattle playing for a wild card spot. I think because of the performance of Geno Smith last year, that a lot of people just assumed Seattle was going to be right back in the mix. But
so maybe that's why the pressure is there, because they could have got a quarterback, but they decided to stick with Geno. Decided Geno did enough last year to, it's not so much about go get a quarterback as not pay a lot more money to a new quarterback, right? So I think there's a little pressure on Seattle, predominantly because I think the goodwill earned by Pete Carroll, kind of the air came out of that balloon during the last Super Bowl loss to the Patriots with the dumbest decision in the history of the Super Bowl, throwing instead of just giving it to Marshawn. But I think there's pressure on Pete Carroll, but maybe not Seattle as a whole. Now, I do think there is elevated pressure on the Chicago Bears this week. They are on the road at Tampa Bay.
a Tampa Bay team that was expected to, again, be bad. And a Tampa Bay team that last week, Lonzo, won their football game over a now, by the way, 0-2 Minnesota Vikings team, a team that was favored, if I recall correctly, by like 6.5 in that game. And the Bucs
team
walked
that
out of
has
there.
a very bad defense.
Oh, atrocious run defense, if nothing
I
else.
fell asleep and didn't realize that they made a comeback.
Baker went 21 of 34, $173, 2 touchdowns, took 1 sack. They ran for just 73 yards. It wasn't the most offensively spectacular day for the Bucs, but they controlled the ball, and defensively they were able to rattle the run game.
Brady
of the Minnesota
who?
Vikings.
Brady who?
Okay, let's not go
Brady who?
insane. All right.
More proof that
Brady-
anyone can win with this
Brady
team.
Quinn is his name, if I recall correctly. If you're talking about the GOAT, you mean Tom Brady.
Brady Quinn, not bad on TV. It was okay at Notre Dame.
Now, I am going to say that there is not as much pressure for the Chicago Bears, so much as there is pressure on Justin Fields.
So we heard during the offseason about how much Justin Fields had improved, but he can improve 1,000%. But if he can't stay on his feet, he's never going to be able to do anything.
I am going to tell you that I am pulling for Justin Fields. I am also losing confidence that he will figure it out. And it's easy to blame the offensive line, but go back and watch some of the throws that he made.
Yeah, but dude, you talked about he had 3.6 seconds to throw.
And that is why it is on Justin Fields. That's why it's on Justin Fields. He is getting more time in the pocket to throw than any other quarterback in the NFL.
So what's
right
what's
now.
the average that a quarterback holds the ball in the pocket?
Close to the average length, if I recall correctly. And again, I did this about 3 days ago, so I'm dumb. If I recall correctly, the average time a QB has in the pocket is like 2.6 something seconds. He is getting almost an extra 3/4 of a second time, which again doesn't feel like much in the grand scheme of things, but in quarterback clock time, that's forever.
Well, according to the internet, the average is 2 to 3 seconds.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's not that far off.
I mean, again, you ask what quarterback.
All
would let
right.
a
So
half an extra
yes,
second.
I am defending an Ohio State quarterback,
Sure, you are.
obviously. But if it's probably has a lot of other things factor in, offensive line, and are the receivers getting open? I mean, you could be ready to throw in like a second, but nobody's open.
I respect and appreciate your ultimate desire to protect and defend one of your own, but I am going to tell you, if you watch Justin Fields play, and you, Lonzo, no ball.
Do I? I'm not so sure after last hour.
If you if you know ball and you watch Justin Fields, I think one of the things that you will recognize about Justin Fields is a lack of confidence when delivering into contention. Right? Throwing down the field is fine. You give him time and he can go vertical. He'll drop a dime. In fact, one of the touchdown passes he had in week 1 was an over-the-shoulder, back shoulder. That was, I mean, it was one of the most pure strikes I've seen him throw at all, period, in his entire career. He gets time to go vertical. He's fine. The problem is when he's asked to throw across the middle, when he's asked to throw into tight windows, I don't see confidence. I need you to go 10 to the ground, get on that back foot, power through the football and deliver it. And I feel like he doesn't trust himself in those moments. If Chicago loses this game, then whatever I think, unless he just has like a 27 to 30 day for 350 and 3 touchdowns, and we look and we go, the Bears defense lost this game, which is not going to happen. Unless it is just obviously one of those games that we all consensus go, that one's not on Justin, then whatever confidence that we had that he would find his, to me, kind of goes out the window. So I would say there's a lot of pressure on the Bears to win this game on the road at a Tampa team that has a win total over under of, 5.5 to prove that their offense under Eberflus is the right call. But I'm still going to say the Giants have more pressure. And as far as the Panthers go out of the NFC, I don't think there's a ton of pressure on them to win this game. Because I think, as I told you before the season, it's the Saints division. The Carolina Panthers are going to be at best fighting for a wild card. But if you came into this and convinced yourself they would be a wild card versus this is the first year of a new coach and a rookie quarterback and a recently put together offense. If you convinced yourself they were a playoff team, that's on you, not them. So the Panthers are nowhere near the top of this discussion.
So here's what I want Monday night. I just want to see Bryce Young improve. Do I want them to win? Absolutely. And can they win? Of course they can win. It's the NFL. Anybody could beat the other team. It's just I want to see him improve, and I want to see him be able to connect with his guys and not the other guys.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we switch it up. We talk high school ball with Kevin Thomas and John Epps from the Moving the Chains podcast. They'll join us to talk a little bit about the games taking place around the upstate. Then when we start the 10 o'clock hour, we'll ask the same question about teams in the AFC. We'll give you our NFL picks. Then in the second segment, we'll give you our college picks from the weekend. Then we ask what the X is going on, and we all go home and get ready for football. Hooray. It's Rob Alfonso with you. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away for just a minute while we get John and Kevin set up. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, fellas, how we doing, boys?
How's it going?
Good, man. Look at John Epps making it on early today. I love it. Love to see it.
Gotta be on time.
Kevin's down in his office right now.
I am.
Why don't you just come up to the studio, bro?
Just wonder why everything is blurry. I guess that makes sense. It's not that far of a walk.
I couldn't hear John though, right?
Looks like Tev got a haircut.
No, you'd have to have headphones.
Yeah.
You'd have to have headphones. Apparently, they must not have those
Gosh, if only
downstairs.
we worked in a radio station where people
We don't get offered those.
They had to throw everything out last week. You didn't hear? They had
We
a big
don't get
party.
offered those either. I don't know what
True. I
you
bought my own. That's
Yeah,
a fact.
I've bought several pairs.
Oh man.
There was a day back in the day, Rob, when
There was a day.
yeah, when they provided headphones for everyone, but that day is long past, like decades past.
We will have, fellas, about 7 minutes, so we'll jump right in and just kind of run through them one after the next.
Cool.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Here we go.
You ready right now?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to talk a little high school football now. And why? Because it's Friday night. The lights are bright. It is just about time to get into yet another week of ball around the upstate. And, of course, as always on Fridays, at this time, we welcome into fellas from the Moving the Chains podcast. We got my guy, Kevin Thomas, is in the house, and John Epps made it in on time today. Look at him go. What's up, big dog?
Tell you what a day. Took me a few weeks to figure it out, but here we go.
Dude, those youths with their technology, John.
Well,
you know,
I've
it's
caught
just
up to the buttons now, and look at
there. It
us.
is. There it is. Kay, what's happening, brother?
What's going on, man? A good Friday, a little bit of a Christmas in the air this morning, so it's a little chilly.
Lonzo walked
it's
in
cold.
and said, "I miss summer," and I was about ready to fist fight him in the office.
No,
'cause
no.
it is perfect
I
outside.
asked who stole summer,
was it.
and the fist fight would not go your way.
We're getting along great today, fellas. Let's talk a little football. Let's start with, of course, the game with the most handsome play-by-play announcer in all of South Carolina, the Burns Rebels at home. Good win for the Rebs last week on the road at Greer, a team that has got a lot of talent, and that's a game, as far as I understand, and again, still kind of recently to the area, has a lot of history behind it, and so there's a lot of pride on the line there. Burns took it all, 49-13. And what stood out to me about that one, guys, Andrew Stevens went 10 toes to the ground and played maybe the best game of his career as the QB1 so far. Wren comes in at 1-2. Despite a loss 35-23 to T.L. Hanna, they have played a couple of schools that are bigger schools from higher regions. They have been competitive in those games. That 1-2 record, I don't think, tells you how good Wren can be, especially with Colton Bagwell under center. This game could be a little more interesting than a lot of Rebels fans think it might be, fellas.
Yeah, Coach Freight's doing a great job there. We talk about it every week. This is a younger team. They're going to get better as the season goes. The Bagwell kid's a good player, 200-plus through the air last week, 100-plus on the ground, can get it done both ways. But, the key for me is just looking for consistency out of Burns. Last week was 2 good performances in a row for them. I think they make it 3 and get a win again tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see Burns put that Chapman game in the rearview mirror and tell the rest of the state, and especially 5A, hey, that was just a bad night. I think this Burns team, Kev Hour going through our top 5 earlier this week for 5A, Burns has got it all. They've got a great offense. They've got playmakers on defense as well. They can put it together. They're going to be a very, very, very tough team to beat for anybody in the state. I think Wren's great. I think the Golden Hurricanes are going to have a good season this year, but Burns is the better team here tonight, and I expect them to win.
Northwestern is 2-1. They are on the road at Gaffney. Gaffney coming off a 24-7 win over Mallard Creek last week. Riley Stanton had himself another game going 19-25. Jaden McDowell, 18 for 137 on the ground. I got to think there's a little bit of a lean in favor of the Indians here, but Northwestern 2-1 has put a couple of offensive performances together.
This Northwestern team is really, really good. I know people in the upstate probably don't like to hear this. I think the Trojans win this game tonight. They are very, very good. And I think the difference here for me is Gaffney is super talented. No doubt about it. Amazing Little John, maybe the best player on the field. But Gaffney sometimes cannot get out of their own way with self-inflicted penalties and mistakes. The Northwestern Trojans, they don't play that way. They play very clean football, very disciplined football. And if that's what happens tonight, I think Northwestern takes the leg up on this.
Yeah, this is the number 1 team in our 4A poll and the second team in our 5A poll to Northwestern again. So a huge matchup here. I like the Trojans as well. Turbo Richard is back from injury. The BC football commit, great player there for them. I like what they've got going on. I think both these teams are great, but I do think Northwestern has a slight edge in this matchup.
Did you just tell me they are rolling with a cat named Turbo?
I mean, how can you pick against Turbo? Come on, Rob.
And he looks like a turbo, Rob. This is
I have heard some great football names before, but you got to have stones that your kid is going to be a dude to give him the name. If you name a kid Turbo and then he turns out to be an offensive lineman, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know what you're grooming that kid to do.
Yeah. A Power 5 running back. Here he is.
There you go. I love it. JL Mann's at Greenville. Greenville last week, 52-7 win over Malden. So they took that frustration to that Burns loss off against Malden. Mizio Bennett, we learned in concussion protocol because of that hit he took in that Burns game. JL Mann, 49-13 winners over Easley last week. What's this one shape up to look like?
I think it comes down to Mazia. He didn't play last week. Questionable still as far as I've heard for tonight. I think if he plays, Greenville has a good shot to win this ballgame. If not, JL Mann can win it. They've got a high-powered offense. Ethan Anderson putting up 300-plus every week, it feels like. Mikael McClellan's a great player out wide for them. I think this JL Mann team is legit. They're not the JL Mann of 5 to 10 years ago. They've got some really good playmakers there. I think they can win this ballgame tonight.
They certainly can. They got the offensive firepower behind Anderson. They weren't as consistent as hoped to see them last year, but it seems they have corrected that this year. Their first 4 games, they have come out the gates very hot. But in my opinion, whether Mazia Bennett plays tonight or not, I still think Greenville's the better team in this matchup. And JL Mann certainly could win this ballgame, but I expect Greenville to win.
Chapman is 3-1. They are on the road at Clinton, who is 4-0. Chapman only scored 48 last week. Clinton put 63 up on the board. So there's the potential for fireworks in this one.
Oh, for sure. And Clinton's a great place to play. They're actually, and Kevin, I think this is the night that they're celebrating 100 years of Red Devil football over there. So it's going to be a big deal. They're going to have a huge crowd out there. These are 2 really good teams. I think are going to have really good seasons. But I tell you what, for Chapman to have to walk into this building tonight with all the fanfare they've got going on and all the excitement and juice that's going to be in that stadium tonight, I think it's going to be a little too much. I know Clinton's dealing with a little bit of injuries on their end, but they're talented top to bottom. I like Clinton in this ball game, but these are 2 really good teams. This might be a playoff matchup we see down the road as well.
Yeah, big 3A matchup here. Clinton, like I said, got a couple guys out, so they're having to do some different things at the running back spot. Don't have the explosiveness they usually do, so a little more kind of chipping away type offense there. But that defense is flying around. I think the Red Devils win at home.
All right, last one. Greer is at Boiling Springs. Again, we talked a minute ago about the fact that Greenville came off that loss, went big the very next week. Greer's at Boiling Springs. Who do we like there?
Boiling Springs has really improved this year. We saw them firsthand last week. The quarterback, Lincoln Husky, is a big left-handed kid. He can get it done. Coach Reel's doing a great job there. I think they win at home over Greer.
I think so, too. I think this Boiling Springs team is going to sneak up on some people here in region play. They've got a very good defense. They play good on the defensive line. And as Kevin said, Husky at quarterback, man, he's a big kid, but he moves around really well, plays very smart. I think this Boiling Springs Bulldog team is they're gonna make some noise this season. They're certainly the better team in this matchup tonight.
Lonzo, name v name matchup. We going with Turbo Richard or we going with Lincoln Husky?
Come on, look at me.
Yeah.
We're going with Husky.
Yeah, we know. We know. Kevin Thomas, John Epps from the Moving the Chains podcast. You can find their website at movingchains.com. And of course, on all the social media, the same handle. And of course, you can find the Moving the Chains podcast on Spotify, on Google Play, on Apple iTunes, wherever you find your podcast. Where are you boys going to be at tonight?
Heading down to Hartsville, Irmo at Hartsville. Huge 4A matchup. Should be a good one.
I like it. And then Twitter Spaces, make sure you're on X/Twitter/whatever it's called nowadays. They'll do wrap-ups. They've got coaches and players and very handsome play-by-play guys stopping by to break down the games on Friday nights. And, John, I just want you to know, buddy, it's a great day. Chase dreams.
It is.
There you go, my man. There it is. Fellas, thank y'all for coming by. Enjoy tonight. I'll see you on Twitter.
Appreciate you, Rob. Thanks a lot.
Have a good time, boys.
There you go. That is Kevin Thomas. That is John Epps from the Moving the Chains podcast. They stop by every Friday to break down high school ball with us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Quick break. When we come back, it's all weekend football, y'all. It's Friday. We talk Saturday ball early. We talk Sunday ball after that. And then we get up out of here for the day on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. So last night before the game, they did a pregame with Marshawn, and they brought him into a barn. He was with the Amish. He was hanging out with an Amish couple. The barn was covered in straw on the floor, and he's like, this ain't a place you walk into with your J's on. And the lady was like, it's clean. He's like, nope, I smell horse bleep. I smell pig bleep. I ain't going in. And they're like, no, we shoveled it already. It's gone. So he goes in, and then hanging in the barn was a wireless lantern, right? Like a battery lantern, like Bray Wyatt used to carry. And he walks up, and he's like, hey, I thought y'all weren't allowed to use electricity. And she goes, oh, no, it's okay. It's wireless. And he goes, you breaking the rules. I see what you're doing. Y'all making up. Like, he just called him out on using electricity, but saying because it's not wireless, it's okay. It was hysterical. They also brought him down the road in their buggy. And he's like, how much does it cost for a new buggy? And the lady's like, about $15,000. He goes, $15K? You don't even get subwoofers in this thing, man. Like, it was freaking hilarious.
Bourbon and Bacon Fest, first break.
10-4. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The Great One Lonzo's in control of this show and every show, frankly, on the radio, everywhere, at any time, ever, and forever. You want to be a part of the show? I got multiple ways for you to do it. 844-326-3663 is the phone number. The CarPros.com text line is 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read some of them on the air. Some of y'all send me stuff I can't read, and you know it. And you know it.
Yeah!
And, of course, you can shoot us a yeah.
What?
On Twitter and on X, or on X, whatever you want to call it, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at The Fan Upstate. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Rob Brown Show if you are ever so inclined
Yeehaw!
to do so. Let's get into some
Hadn't
stuff
played
here.
that yeehaw in a while.
Yeah, it's been
you
a
know.
minute.
It's Friday. You know, you got a yeehaw
Yeehaw!
on Friday.
I mean,
I cut myself off. That counts too. Just go ahead.
5?
Yeah. Just go ahead. Why
You're
not?
like- You're like Kirk Cousins up in here right now.
Yeah, apparently.
You're like Kirk Cousins.
I thought we was going to make it through the entire Friday with no Taylor Swift. And I've been watching the clock. That's been up almost the whole time. I had just taken it down last break. We made it till 11 a.m. without Taylor Swift.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
All right, let's talk ball. Can I go real quick? Just real quick. And not even.
You can do
half
whatever
second.
you want. That says the Rob Brown Show
It
right
does.
there. I see that.
Right there on that TV. How about that? This Jay Norvell story. Colorado State, Colorado. Colorado's favored by, what is it, 24 and a half, something ridiculous like that.
By the way, take your glasses off. That's disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My mom told me to.
Yeah.
Take my hat and glasses off.
Yeah. You got to talk to me. I want your hat off. I want your glasses off.
Dear everyone who plays Colorado, allow me to impart upon thee just a briefest word of wisdom, if I may.
I sent you that video. Did you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let me impart upon you just a tiny word of wisdom, if I might. What Jay Norvell said was dumb. Okay. And I don't mean dumb like it's dumb that he said it about Deion. I just mean it's dumb. All right. It is the year 2023. If you were a football coach and you don't take your hat off when you talk to somebody, nobody cares. All right. I mean, somebody cares, like my grandma, right? Who I love more than all of you. I take off my hat when I go into my grandmother's house, but that's because it's my grandma. If I roll out into the
All right.
mall,
All right. That's not what he means. He means his grandma would knock it off his head
That
if
is
he didn't
also
take
correct.
it off.
That is also correct. Deanie Brown would have none of that. All right. But if I'm at the mall and somebody walks up to me and goes, "You should take your head off inside," I'm going to call them a Karen and move on with my day. Okay. So what Jay Norvell said was dumb. But see, here's the problem for Jay Norvell. The problem is that Deion has built his entire Colorado program around what? Having a vendetta for everything. Deion has built his entire program.
Did you just get a text from your grandma?
No, I got a text from the boss,
Oh, okay.
which is not worse for the record. Deion has built his entire program effectively around vendettas, vengeance, revenge, if you will. That is to say, Lonzo, you ever worked with anybody who took every damn thing personally? Just everything?
No.
Never? Okay,
No.
that's good for you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no,
for
no.
sure.
I live with one who does, like all the time. And I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about that mirror.
I will tell you that it for those of you who have had the good fortune of
Hey,
never
I know who I am. Okay. All right. I get it. But
acknowledgement is step one.
sometimes I am legitimately being disrespected. All right.
Yes, and also sometimes I'm not saying Lonzo in particular, but some of us, and I'm certainly not saying
Some of
myself.
some of us make up disrespect for motivation. Like let's
Correct.
say Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is Deion's entire culture building procedure at the University of Colorado University. The Buffs are built on nobody likes us, everybody hates it. You know what? It's like this. And for the record, to some degree, it's the same way Dabo does it at Clemson. right? That's where the little old Clemson jokes come from.
Little old Clemson.
Because it gets very tiring for a team that has won 2 out of the last 5 natties to go, we're getting disrespected. We're getting knocked down, right? For the record, I bagged up a guy that I very much like, the future Mr. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. When he grabbed the mic and went, we just felt disrespected. You were the favorite in every game you played. You were the shortest odds to win the Super Bowl, the shortest odds to make the Super Bowl, and you were a favorite in every single game you played all season long. You were not disrespected.
Again, you obviously didn't see all the press. Well, what are they going to do without Tyreek? They were disrespected the entire season. Oh, look, they got to come back to win. There's no way they can do all this stuff. So maybe you just don't see it because you don't see it, but it was there.
And yet, we're still the favorite in every game they played all year long. There was not a game last year off the top of my head I can recall that they were not the favorite. That includes the regular season, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl itself. You were not disrespected, but I understand wanting to make up disrespect in order to generate motivation, and that's what Deion Sanders is doing. If you have not seen the clip yet, there's a clip that came out from Deion at practice,
which, unless it's edited, cannot be played. Not because of what Deion said, but some other people were throwing some things in there.
Correct. And I did not have the energy or desire to sit there and censor and make sure I was listening to all 97 voices in that tape to make sure I got every one.
Oh,
even if I did,
there
it
was some
probably
stuff.
would have been like, let's go. This clip is from practice at Colorado University or University of Colorado yesterday. Here is what Deion said to his team.
There wasn't that much, by the way.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't, but there was a few things.
So Deion gets in front of his team. He circles them around and he's like, hey, Jay Norvell, I don't know why he needed to talk about us. We don't talk about nobody. I don't know why he had to talk about us, but he just went and he made it. And then the whole team goes, personal. And Deion goes, once again, we got another coach out here who's talking about us. And he made it
personal.
The whole team's yelling personal.
Why you sound like Stephen A. Smith right now?
Because that's what Deion sounded like. And I'm not hating on him for it. Because that's what works for his team. At the end of the day, I will not hate on a coach who has figured out how to get the most out of his team, even if I think it's dumb. And yes, thinking that Jay Norvell saying, I take off my hat and glasses when I talk to grown-ups, which again, what Jay Norvell said is dumb.
And was absolutely meant as a diss. It was not an
sure
offhand comment.
Yeah.
It was meant as a diss.
Well, you know what it was? It was a way for him to kind of throw a little something at Deion to go, I know who you are, you know who you are, we know who you are, without having to insult the football team, right? Because he didn't want to insult the players. He just wanted to insult Deion. But see, what he doesn't realize is that the football players are Deion. Deion are the football players. They're one entity. And I will give Deion Sanders credit for this. He has done a better job than maybe anybody in the country this year and this year alone. A better job than maybe anybody in the country at creating this hive mind mentality betwixt his team and his coaches. If Deion says he done went and made it personal, then everybody that's got that Buffalo logo on the chest, they take it personally. Not coach said it's personal. No. They take it personal. It becomes personal to them. So I'm going to go ahead and offer a piece of advice to every coach who is going to come up against Neon Deion Primetime Sanders and his Colorado Buffaloes for the rest of the year. Don't say a damn thing. Don't say a damn thing. Be as respectful as you can. Because here's the thing, anything that is off, Deion's going to take it as a slight, and he is going to instill in his team that it is a personal attack on them.
By the way, if they don't say anything, he's going to say, look.
They don't even say nothing about us.
They're afraid of you.
You know why they don't say nothing about us? Because they don't think nothing about us. And if they don't think nothing about us, that's them making it
disrespectful.
Personal,
yes. Sorry, got my teams mixed
Sorry.
up.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You're still stuck on the fact that anybody dare insult the great Travis Kelce. I get it.
I am concerned about that, yes.
This disrespect. But that's it, right? I think if I'm the head coach of, let's say, I don't know who they got next week, the Oregon Ducks, right? If I am getting set to lead Bo Nix into battle, If I am Dan Lanning, you know what I'm saying next week? Frankly, I think Deion Sanders is doing a wonderful job with the Colorado football program. I think Shedeur Sanders is without question one of the most electrifying and elite quarterbacks in college football. I think Travis Hunter is exactly the player that everybody knew he would be when everybody was recruiting him across the country a couple of years ago. I think this Colorado football team is one of the best teams in the country right now. I think they deserve more respect from everybody else than they're getting, and they have the utmost respect from us. Now, there's still a chance Deion's going to go back to his team and go, he don't believe none of that. He's lying to the media. You know why he's lying to the media? Because he wants to make it personal. But that's what you do. I'm going to give Deion credit for this. He has created a world in which everything is personal, and when it's personal, his team takes it personal, and when his team takes it personal, they fire back. They fire back. They fire back on all cylinders, and they do not let up. And I, for one, respect the boat out of that. Let's take a look at some of the games upcoming this weekend. I put together a list, Lonzo, because college football this week, I'm not going to lie, it's a little sparse. It's unfortunate that it's just week 2, but it's a little sparse. But I did put together, in tribute to what I think has been one of the best moves, we talked about broadcasting earlier in the day, one of the best moves that any broadcast outlet has made in a very long time, YouTube TV, if you subscribe, especially if you're one of those people that left Spectrum in order to do it, YouTube TV now builds quad boxes for you. You can select off their home menu a quad box where they will put 4 games onto one TV for you.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. And they do the little thing where you can move the highlight around and you can pick which game you want the sound from of those 4 games, right? It's a cool concept. Now, there is one critique I have, which is I don't get to pick the 4 games. They build a box with 4 games. And so they might have 2 quad boxes going, and one game you want to watch is in one quad and one game you want to watch is in the other. But for me, because I'm an adult and irresponsible, I just put more screens into the bro cave so I don't have to pick. But if you just have the one TV, you might still have to flip back and forth, whatever. But in tribute to YouTube TV's
if you only have one
job,
TV, you don't know football.
You don't know ball. You got to know ball. You don't know ball. I put together, Alonzo, for each time slot, morning, afternoon, and night, the 4 games that you have to watch in all 3 time slots. We get started off at noon.
Wait, this is homework?
This is your homework.
This is what we have to watch?
These are the 4 games in each time slot you have to watch. If you don't, Lonzo, you don't know ball, right? I don't know. That's just going to be a thing. I didn't mean for it to be a thing, but here we are.
Yeah, we all know you meant it to be a thing.
At noon on ESPN, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State host LSU. I think this is a must-watch game because LSU got rocked by FSU in week 1, but they came back and they put, I think, 73 on the board against Grambling last week.
All right, I'm out already, so I can't. I got other obligations, something else I need to watch at that time.
At noon?
Yeah.
Do you not have more than one screen available?
When Ohio State's on the TV, that's all it needs to be on there.
Gotcha. Well, Ohio State is not on my list of 4 because you guys are playing whom?
Youngstown State, I believe.
No, that was last
that
week.
Was, oh, never mind. No, actually,
Western
Kentucky. It's
there
Western Kentucky.
There you go. Not on the list. LSU Mississippi State is because Mississippi State.
Why aren't you respecting the Hilltoppers?
Yeah, I'm disrespecting Ohio State's what I'm doing. All right. I didn't put them on my playoff top 4 either.
It's Ohio State, not Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
There we go.
LSU and Mississippi State. LSU is going to prove, I think, this week that their offense is elite, that their offense was just up against the very good Florida State defense. I think that is must watch. Speaking of Florida State.
Is it maybe must watch because you picked LSU to be in your Final Four?
That is one of the reasons.
Yeah, I just thought maybe that could be
But
it.
I also think that, again, 2 things. Number 1, the noon slot, not good. There's not a lot of good contests here. I was digging, and you're going to hear about how deep I was digging to find 4 in the noon slot that I quad box here in just a second. LSU at Mississippi State is probably the best game in that slot, to be honest with you. There's not going to be much better. Mississippi State believes that they are being disrespected in the SEC, being picked towards the bottom of the conference. On the flip side, Jaden Daniels at this point has got to prove that he is the dude that I thought he was going to be. FSU is at Boston College. Listen, the Noles are going to probably win this game by 40 going away. Why did I pick it here? Same reason that I picked Clemson at FAU in the late night slot, because I need to see what this team is. This team legitimate? They looked real good against LSU. They look like they brought it again against Southern Miss last weekend. Boston College is not good, but they are not a slouch offensively. They've got some weapons. I need to make sure that FSU is clicking on all cylinders, because if FSU looks bad this week and Clemson looks good, that game next weekend gets interesting. That game is at noon on ABC. On noon in the SEC network, Kansas State is at Missouri. Now, this is not a game that in most weeks is must watch. Honestly, I just had to pick 4. Kansas State's a top 25 team. Mizzou flirted with it, but it is a hot seat year for Eli Drinkfitz. It's a hot seat year for him. If he drops this game to Kansas State at the house, that heat gets cranked up. I think it's a hot seat game. And finally, on Fox at noon, Penn State's at Illinois. Penn State heavily favored in this game, and they should be. And they should win this game by like all the points. But the Illini have pulled some big upsets the last couple of years. And the Illini have made Ohio State sweat a couple of times. They've made Michigan State sweat a couple of times. Is there any chance James Franklin's team is looking down the line a little bit? Probably not. But if they do, the Illinois Illini can make them sweat. Then we go to the afternoon slot. We're going to start off with a trio of games in the 3:30 slot. No surprise, obviously, one of them is South Carolina at Georgia. Why? We're going to find out if the lessons learned from week 1 to 2 that were changed against Furman were legitimate for South Carolina. A, and B, we're going to get our first true look at just how good Georgia is. As the old saying goes, they ain't played nobody yet. They will play somebody this week. It is a middle-of-the-road SEC team in South Carolina, but a South Carolina team we know can, when they're on their A game, be explosive. That game's at 3:30 on CBS. Also at 3:30, Minnesota is at UNC. UNC got the win over South Carolina in week 1. They did get a win over Appy State in week 2, and a lot of people said, wait a minute, Rob, that's a group of 5 team. Maybe Drake May and the gang aren't quite as good as you think that they are. Well, they are getting probably the 4th or 5th best team in the Big Ten coming to their house this weekend. We're going to get a true look at what Drake May's offense looked like. That game is at 3:30. Also at 3:30, Oregon State, quarterbacked, of course, by the legendary.
I don't have it ready. I'm sorry. I was busy doing stuff.
Uiagalelei and his Oregon State Beavers at 3:30 on FS1 will be hosting, of course, San Diego State. Now,
I was following along with the schedule, so I had the football schedule up, and I didn't have that screen up.
I respect
There,
it.
inside
That's fine.
baseball, whatever.
I'm good with it. Anyway, Oregon State, of course, quarterbacked by. Oregon State, of course, quarterbacked by Uiagalelei, is at the house taking on San Diego State. Again, a game that maybe doesn't register on the minds of people in the Southeast, but Oregon State has kind of announced behind DJ Uiagalelei.
I think you're wrong. I think it does register down here because
of
every,
DJ.
because every victory he has and looks good
A
in.
victory generation.
Yeah, and another team doesn't look as good.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I also think Oregon State has announced themselves as a potential Pac-12 championship team at this point, right? The way they're throwing the ball around, the way they're moving the ball around. If they can go out there against San Diego State and get themselves a fat W over the Aztecs, they will have arrived as a potential Pac-12 champion and a team that has potential to go undefeated. Right now, Oregon State, Oregon, the Civil War looks like it's going to be a ball, my dudes. And then at 5 o'clock, Washington is at Michigan State. Now, this wouldn't be, except for everything that's happening at Michigan State. Mel Tucker's out. He is suspended, and I'm going to go ahead and call the shot now. He's going to get canned when this is all said and done. So there's a lot of turnover for a team that was hoping that Mel Tucker was going to have a, oh, crap, he's still that dude for the Spartans year, which makes that game a little more interesting. And then we move to our night games. We open them up at 7 p.m. Tennessee at Florida. This game a few years back was heavily in favor of Florida. They hold about a 20-game lead in the series. This game last year was all about Tennessee. This year is very interesting. Why? Because the Gators lost that game to Utah, but they looked a lot better in week 2. Now they get a Tennessee team that looked a lot better last year than they do so far this year. This game is going to be Florida trying to wrest its power back. This game is going to be Tennessee trying to prove that they are still the second best team in the final year of the SEC East. And on top of that, Lonzo, they just don't like each other. Tennessee, Florida is a fun rivalry. If you're not Tennessee or Florida, that one kicks off on ESPN at 7. At 7:30, one that I care about a lot. Some of y'all will not. Georgia Tech is at Ole Miss on the SEC network. Why am I intrigued in this one? Well, I think that Georgia Tech is on the way up. Ole Miss, however, went to Tulane last week and beat the same Tulane team. Well, not the same team, but a similar Tulane team to the one that knocked off Southern Cal in the Pac-12 championship game. In the bowl game after USC lost the Pac-12 championship to Utah last year. Is Lane Kiffin really hitting on something with Jackson Dart in that offense? I don't know. Georgia Tech is going to be very physical at the point of attack, which I think is one thing Ole Miss struggles with. That one's going to be interesting. ACC net at 8 p.m. FAU is at Clemson. Outside of the upstate, this one probably isn't that interesting, but I've told you I think this is the most important game Clemson has played in a very long time, and I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to stick with that because they have got to get right. They've got to get right from the opening kick all the way back to the final whistle to prove that they have got it hitting on all cylinders to be ready for FSU next weekend. That one kicks at 8 on the ACC net, and then wrapping it all up, Lonzo, at 10 p.m. How could we go anywhere else but Colorado State? Because of all of that boat talk that Jay Norvell had about wearing your hats and sunglasses. Ugh, how disrespectful. Colorado by 50.
All right, so normally don't stay up for the West Coast games, but
Tonight?
I will be. I'll be getting home from my Saturday show right around that time, getting some snacks ready to go and watch that game.
Colorado State kicks on ESPN at 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Those are your Rob Brown quad boxes for the weekend in all 3 time slots. When we come back here in just a minute, we take a look up and down the National Football League schedule, give you the games we like, give you some picks in them. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show rolls on next. It is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got another live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, kids, we're back. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, P digits.
P digits, thanks for hanging out, buddy. As always, appreciate you coming by, my man. Happy to do it. Stay tuned because we got some more stuff coming up, including a little project we're doing for an alternate broadcast for a Greenville Triumph game. For those of you that have never been able to get into football, that might be the one.
So while other companies might deliver a lot of pay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted South Carolina's
Mad World.
Top stream bars. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Buy your tickets now at madworldattractions.com.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers is hosting the East Coast Public Auction in Pelzer on Thursday, September 28th, featuring construction.
I don't know if I told you I let one of my, 2 of my companions in Baldur's Gate 3 were fighting each other. Did I tell you about that?
You let them fight each other?
If you don't intervene, one kills the other one.
Oh, man. This game sounds awesome.
And I'm playing as a bad guy. Cameron's like, I was like, I'm playing as a bad guy. Let's see who's better than the other one.
Motivations of what? Power, fame, greed?
Oh no, it was actually racial to a degree. And religion. They didn't like each other and they were fighting each other, and it was a split followed by a puncture. It was graphic.
All right, friends, let's take a look at the National Football League schedule. I gave you my favoritist games from the weekend in college ball across all 3 time slots. Let's take a look at the NFL schedule upcoming this weekend. Of course, we got it started last night with a Philadelphia Eagles win over the Minnesota Vikings. My goodness, the Vikings' high hopes in the NFC North are now 0-2, which gives them a less than 1 in 10% chance of making the playoffs even as a wild card at this point. Can't fumble multiple times on the road, especially not when Jalen Hurts is lined up across from you. Here we go for the weekend, Lonzo. The Houston Texans are at home. They're hosting the Indianapolis Colts, and they are favorites in this game at -1.5. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a battle of the 2 rookie quarterbacks who had the best opening week. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. Richardson threatened 70% completion percentage in his first game with the Colts. CJ showed that he can manage the offense even when he's under a little bit of duress. That being said, I like the Colts on the road +1.5. Anthony Richardson might have shown the most rookie QB progression of any of the 4 in the class who got taken in the top 10 picks. I like the Colts on the road +1.5.
So this is basically a coin toss, right? So
effectively, because it is the Texans at home, meaning they get 3. They give it a 1.5 back, so they believe that the Colts, that the Texans are the Colts are a 1.5 better than the Texans, but they're on the road. So basically a flip them.
Yeah. So in a coin toss game like this, I'm going to go with CJ Stroud just because.
Okay. Just because is a good enough reason.
I think we know what the because is.
Chris Jones is back. Big Stone Jones was in the stadium, but not dressed for the Chiefs last weekend. And Travis Kelce is likely not to go. He's been limited at practice this week, has been running some routes, but not involved in contact. So no TK87 for the Chefs. They are on the road down at Jacksonville, and they are 3.5-point favorites in this one. And I'm going to tell you, I'm staying the hell away from this game.
He's not been ruled out yet. He's not ruled out. No.
I didn't say he is ruled out. I said he's going to be ruled out.
He's not ruled out yet. And because he's not ruled out yet, I think he's going to play. From what I heard, limited action.
I would be stunned.
So you bring him in to score touchdowns.
Because
and then you
here's
take
the
him
reality. Out. You bring him in and he takes one shot to that leg the wrong way and he goes gimp again. Now you're not favorites for the next 4 or 5
What if
weeks.
you don't bring him in and you end up being 0-2? Is he worth the
I would
risk? If
rather-
you think
yes.
he's the difference, is he
Yes.
worth the risk?
I would rather be, based on what we've seen, and granted, as it's been said many times, it's just one game, but based on the way the offense of the Chiefs operate, I would rather be 0-2 with a 10% chance to get in with Travis Kelce healthy than be 1-1 and risk him going out long term.
All right, here's my prediction. The Chiefs win the game. The opening drive, there is a long pass play to Kadarius Toney, and he scores a touchdown.
He better, because if not, I hope he knows his way around Canada, because that's where he'll be next week or next year. I'm going to disrespect the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Jags plus 3.5.
Yeah,
this
but
one.
I
Maybe
get
not to
it.
win outright.
I get it.
Maybe not to win outright. Could you see this being if TK does not play? Could you see this being like a 27-24 Chiefs win?
I think your motivations are anti-Urban. I really
They're
do, because Urban is gone.
Why would I pick?
Because the better the
Okay.
team does, the worse Urban Meyer looks, and I think deep seated. That's where this comes from. Nah, the Chiefs are going to win.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This has been in my folder for a while.
It's up.
Just enjoy. Just enjoy this clip. No
He has
reason.
the rookie season that we should all just completely forget ever happened because of Urban Meyer and what a complete nightmare that whole thing was. And then all of a sudden last year, he seems to be taking people by surprise. This is a guy that we were comparing to Peyton Manning when he came out on the draft. So when this season is over, if we're saying, well, Mahomes is the best, but this guy might be next, I don't think that would be a surprise.
Well, it's because of the physical skill set, Green. 6'6". He can run. He ran, 4 or 5.
All right, I don't need to go through the rest of it. That's
Yeah,
Booger
it's
and Greeny.
just- yeah.
Suffice to say, I'm not the only one who has said the Jags should have been good longer, but Urban tanked them. Either way,
Thank you for proving my point.
This is a good Jacksonville team. I
You
have
know,
them
you
picked
just
to win
proved my
this
point.
division.
Nah,
I have them picked to win the AFC South. Now,
nah.
the Colts are a little better than I thought they were going to be. The Texans, maybe a little better than I thought they would be, although I didn't think they were going to be better than a lot of people did because I like D'Amico Ryans and I like CJ Stroud. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, but I like a 3-point game. And if it's a 3-point game, Jacksonville covers the 3.5. Give me the Jags to cover, not win, but cover. Green Bay at Atlanta. The Falcons are minus 1.5 at home. The Falcons favored in this game. Give me the Pack to cover. If the Panthers don't turn the ball over 3 times last week, the Dirty Birds don't win that game. The Packers will not turn the ball over 3 times. Lonzo, this is actually one of my easier plays of the year. Give me the Pack plus 1.5 on the road at Atlanta.
See, there's this guy named Jordan Love. I've never really heard of him before.
No?
But he looks like he might be an okay football player. So I'm going to go with Packers too.
Yep.
Why are you highlighting that?
Because it makes me laugh.
I'm not even looking, but out of the corner of my eye, I can see you highlighting that.
Chris Lewis, resident Giants fan, called him Cadaverous Tony. Outstanding work, Chris. Outstanding work.
He does have a Super Bowl. I'm just saying he does have one of those.
Seattle is at Detroit, and the Lions are laying 5 at home. I got to tell you, I kind of think I like Detroit to cover -5 in this one. Seattle was unimpressive, or at least relative to what we thought they were going to be back in week 1. I think the Seahawks are dropping to 0-2. Jahmyr Gibbs is a dude. Dudes, give me the Lions -5.
This is the beginning of the end of Pete. I'm also going with the Lions.
I like it. I like it. We're going all on the line. The Ravens at the Bay. What the hell, Cincinnati? What was that? My God, week 1.
It's that thing that happens in sports when the player gets paid a whole lot of money and then they come out like the next season and they don't do so well. I don't think it's going to happen
Yeah,
the
but it was
entire
like 2
season.
days later.
Yeah, I know.
It was like a day and a half
Well, it's
later.
the first time he got on the field since
My
getting paid.
goodness.
It's all right though. I don't know if you saw. He went out and got a haircut
Hey, look.
because he said, yeah. Anyway,
I get
you should watch the video.
I get to do this because we got trophy, right? We don't get trophy. I gotta, you gotta go professional. Joey Ice and the Bengals are laying 3 at home against the. There's no way they have back-to-back performances like they did in week 1, right? No freaking way the Bengals do that.
Nah, I'm not going with that. I gotta go Cincinnati here.
Bengals lay the points at the house. They are -3, and I'm rolling with Joey B. He's not putting back-to-back weeks of trash together. The Chargers at the Titans, and the Chargers are favored -2.5. I'm going to give you a prop to play in this game. whatever Derrick Henry's over-under rushing yardage number is, play the over. Derrick Henry ran a lot in the first half against the Saints last week. In the second half, he kind of didn't touch the ball as much. And after the game, Mike Vrabel said that was a bit of an oversight. They forgot that King Henry was in the backfield. Mike Vrabel's going to try to make good on that this week. And he knows if you want to beat the Chargers, you got to do what? Keep Justin Herbert's gloriously haired ass on the bench. That's it. That's it.
I think maybe you should have said that differently.
Yeah, I regret it.
Yeah,
I do.
probably.
Yep, I phrased that really poorly. That's on me. That's my bad. You got to keep Justin Herbert and his luxurious mane that sits squarely and only on top of his head
There we
on
go.
the bench.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
that's
it's-
better.
I'm not even going to make that into a promo because I'm embarrassed for you. So no.
I appreciate that because I should be embarrassed. Tennessee's going to run the ball. King Henry is going to – I like the Titans to win this game. Titans should have beat the Saints in week one, just so we're all clear. As a Saints fan, the Titans should have won that game in week one. They will win this game over the Chargers. I am taking the 2.5 for Tennessee.
Well, if you recall, I picked the Titans to win that division.
You sure
So
did.
yeah, I'm definitely going with Titans.
Chicago's on the road at Tampa Bay. The Bucks are minus 2.5. And I'm going to tell you right now, Lonzo, I am all in with Tampa this week. I do not trust Justin Fields, and against a Tampa team that is going to thrive in defensive backfield turnovers, Justin Fields has 2 picks. The Bucks win this game by 3. I am laying the 2.5 for Tampa at the house.
Yeah, who saw this coming? And not only that you and I are agreeing on almost everything, but that Tampa Bay might be 2-0.
Seriously.
Let me say it
Honestly,
again, and I hope I get to say this at the end of the season. Brady who?
if Carolina beats New Orleans on Monday night, and I'm right about the Falcons game, Tampa could be the only undefeated team in the NFC South. Granted, through week 2, but they realistically could be. I like them over the Bears. The Bills, minus 8 against Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. They are at Buffalo. This one's back in Orchard Park. I got to tell you, it's hard for me to go with Josh and lay 8 after a 3 INT performance last week. But screw it, I'm doing it. Lay the 8. Josh earns at least 1 Allen and maybe 1 more Josh back this week. Give me the Bills. I'm laying all 8 over Vegas.
All right. So, I said all last year that he was overrated. Now people are starting to talk about it themselves, including an embarrassing moment that I sent you earlier from a TV show. I'm going to go with Garoppolo because all he does is win. So I'm going with Garoppolo. I think the Raiders, and I'm not even sure it's an upset. We'll have to see.
They're 8-point dogs. It is the definition of an NFL upset.
I'm talking about for the perception right now would be it's an upset, but if the Bills finish as bad as they could, it may not be. That's all I'm saying.
Josh is earning a Josh back. He might be Josh by next week. We'll find out.
Hey, Josh.
The Giants are laying 4. They're on the road at Arizona. They have to bounce back. If the Giants lose this, go 0-2 the way they lost to Dallas last week, they might blow up that program as a whole. Chris Lewis, I got you back on this one. Give me the Giants lay the 4 on the road at Arizona. I can't see Arizona doing it again.
Man, come on. Who's picking Arizona other than our guy who, when we were doing the podcast, said that someone was taller than 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
That guy's picking them.
Yeah.
But no. The Giants are winning this game.
San Francisco is laying 7.5 on the road at the Rams, which a week ago, this would have been one of the easiest picks on the board. Like, of course, San Francisco. That being said, San Francisco looked damn good. They blew up Pittsburgh, a Pittsburgh team that everybody tried to convince me was going to go to San Francisco and make a game of it. They did not. Mike Tomlin, for the first time maybe in his career, got it handed to him on a platter. The Niners are freaking good, my dudes. And the Rams look much better than everybody thought they might in week 1, but it was week 1. They will come back to the mean. Give me the Niners, lay the 7.5 even on the road.
Oh, man, I think the Niners are going to win, but the Rams
Can they win by 8 or better?
The Rams looked a lot better than what anyone thought. I'm going to say, yeah, they will, but I think it's going to be fourth quarter before you know.
So you lay in the points with the Niners, or can the Rams be inside of 7?
I'm going with Niners.
All right. I like it. We're all in agreement so far. Jets at the Cowboys, and the boys are 9.5-point favorites. I'm going to say Zach, maybe inspired by his mom's friends a little bit because he figured out how to gut out that win against. If Josh Allen throws 1 less turnover in that game, The Bills win that game.
This ain't about the Jets, by the way. This is about the Cowboys. Are they finally what everyone in the media wants them to be?
Here's the problem. Everybody looked at that defense, which is damn good. I'm not going to take it away from them. That offense under Dak is still not that good. I am taking the Jets plus 9.5, double digits points, tough to bet against in the NFL. I don't think the Jets need to do anything. They put 14 on the board. I don't trust Dak to get it. I still don't. Sorry. All due respect to the young man out of Mississippi State. Give me Zach Wilson plus 9.5 in this one.
By the way,
9.5.
I hope to not get a text that says stop over, but I am saying that, yeah, the Jets defense show everyone that Dak is still who most of us think he is, and he's just kind of mediocre.
The New York Sack Exchange is going to keep them in this game. I think Dallas wins. I do not like they cover. Washington Commanders are plus 3.5 at Denver. Real quick on that one, I'm going with the Broncos.
I'm going Washington.
All right, there we go. We got a disagreement. Finally, Miami's -3 at New England. It's the easiest bet on the weekend. Miami's going to blow them out of the water. It's not even going to be close. Give me the Dolphins like -14.
Yeah, Miami easy.
Easy. And then we will break down our 2 Monday Night Football games on Monday. I will be there in in Charlotte when the Saints come to town to take on Carolina. I'll be off next Tuesday, but we'll preview those games: New Orleans at Carolina, Cleveland at Pittsburgh on Monday's show. So there's our picks for the weekend against the spread. We're back after this to ask what the X is going on, and then ask what the X are you still doing here. It's over. Go home because it's Friday and it's football weekend on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. If the Giants lose to Arizona, Chris, I may just preemptively send the ambulance to your house for the heart attack I assume you are going to have.
Into the gun. I think he might throw one of those touchdowns. That guy's a Muppet. He sounds like a Muppet. Can't you picture a Muppet doing what they? Yeah, this is a Muppet.
Champion Eagles improved to 2-0 with the win. Minnesota drops to 0-2. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins football play-by-play all season long. Catch every game right here live. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash.
So far, anyone who was on the quarterback documentary, they all lost their first game. You can't count Mariota, although I forget. Mariota's with Philadelphia, right?
Back up, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's correct.
On the ground with a 34-28 win. The Eagles improved to 2-0 as the Vikings fall to 0-2. Meanwhile, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers posted on social media that surgery went great to repair a torn Achilles he suffered Monday night. The 19-year veteran was traded by the Packers this offseason and suffered the season-ending injury in his first regular season start for New York. And the NFL announced an extended partnership with Tottenham Hotspur Stadium through the 2029-2030 season. It's a Fan NFL Network now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Football is back, and DraftKings
Football is
Sportsbook,
back.
an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Plus, all customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code ROME, R-O-M-E, bet just $5, and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's code ROME, only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be present in state state where lawful to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877.
If you don't fix the TV back, someone's going to get emails engineering. There's something wrong with the TV. This is my way of reminding you that you need to fix the TV afterwards.
And it is appreciated.
Yeah.
Great one. It truly is.
CDKNG.co/football for eligibility. Terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions to apply.
Meet Bruce.
He talks really fast.
He's trying hard to learn the game. Go for the end zone. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. And a tip from his
Prime gave his whole team sunglasses. Colorado by a Hyundai. Did he really? I didn't see that. I already locked in.
I don't know. Can you do that though? Can you do? I mean, I know if NIL can have, but can a coach give a player something?
I'm assuming if it goes through the team, they can, right?
I don't know.
You'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the it's, KBP.com.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average.
Apparently, it's on Instagram. You can see him do it.
Well, guess I'm going to Instagram real quick. At the Rob Brown Show. Follow me on Instagram.
Thank you, Steven. I can't wait either. Full crew back tomorrow as of now. Remember, I'm like, who are these skinny people walking in there? Those ain't football players. Oh, they look nice. All right, it's time to ask Rob what the X is going on, yo.
I'm gonna have to buy Dion glasses, ain't I?
They
I'm just
they
gonna
look
have to buy
good.
Dion
They
glasses.
look good on you. I can rock any kind of sunglasses. All right, the first thing it's Xing yo is John Moxley.
So I'm still catching up from last week. Working from home, got my wrestling time cut dramatically in half. So
Has nothing to do with in the ring. Well, it kind of does.
So
But
Mox beat Orange Cassidy after, by the way, and I mean this, Cassidy gave a hell of a run to that belt.
He
hell
absolutely
of a
did.
run to that belt. It was, and I'm fine with him taking some time to get away from it a little bit. Mox took it from him, and I challenged somebody, told Punk he could stick it somewhere. What'd he do?
All right, so the PWI 500 came out yesterday, and they
Seth was 1.
right.
Roman 2.
Yes.
Mox 3.
Yes.
So the Shield are the
Yes.
best 3 wrestlers. In
And Seth X'd out a picture of the Shield's hands together.
Did he really?
Which I thought was really cool. Yeah,
That is
absolutely. All right, the next thing that's Xing
Yo.
is thank you, TNA Impact. It's now just Impact,
I'll say it's just Impact now, right?
but there's a reason why.
They are dying to
He-
stay relevant.
Well, was their 1000th episode,
Oh.
and the Dudley Boys reunited.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd probably check in for that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, something that's not really cool and probably be the last one, layoffs are trending right now.
Yeah, so TKO, which is the organization's name now that runs both UFC and spent a lot of money to purchase the WWE. So Vince McMahon is now officially out, although he's probably still in creative.
Out there
control.
are tweets out there or X's or whatever saying that he now has veto power even over some UFC stuff. I don't know how real that is. I'm just saying.
All right, so two things here. Number one, I don't know if you saw this. After they went through with the merger and they introduced TKO in the stock exchange, did you see what Vince did? He rolled outside and put on a purple do-rag. Do-rag Vince came back.
See, I thought that was fake. That was real.
Yup.
Okay.
Now, just so we're all clear, I don't like Vince McMahon. I think he's a bad person, regardless of his business acumen. Here's what I am going to tell you that I despise. What I despise is this. Vince and H and Dana and all these guys, they all just made millions upon millions of dollars from this merger. Millions upon millions of dollars into all of their pockets. And what is the first thing that they do? They're going to start firing people so they don't have to pay them. Do you understand how much I hate that?
Well,
Call me what you want to call me. Break out the woke warrior title. I don't give a damn. The fact that Vince and Dana and all these other clowns just brought in tens of millions of dollars in pure profit off the merger, and their first decision was to start handing out pink slips to employees is a joke.
Not defending it, but when mergers happen, and you have two of something, someone's got to go. It sucks, but that's life.
Johnny Gargano's.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about office stuff. I'm not talking about the wrestlers.
I don't listen.
Well, there have been no wrestling releases that we know of other than the Grizzled Young Veterans, and they wanted out.
I don't go dirt sheets very often, but every one of them is reporting that a number of talent layoffs are expected today. You're going to see some names cut today that you're going to go, what the hell? And it's all solely so because they just didn't make enough money yesterday. They need more. You'll have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the football.
Wow, man. Angry Rob is back right at the end of the week.
This is your fault. I am here on Monday. I will be at the Monday Night Football game, so I'm off on Tuesday. So make sure you're back here Monday for all my thoughts on that. For Lonzo, my name is Rob Brown. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a lovely weekend. See you back here on Monday to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Yeah!
Now it's time where I try to do some Steiner math.
You got a 33 and a third % chance of getting this timing right. All right, guys, I do have to jet. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to be
Thanks, Seth. Good to see you on there.
Some new stuff on the stream.
I'll hear you tomorrow because I hear you at the beginning of every Upstate Pulse.
Who?
Seth.
Oh, true. We're doing some new stuff on the stream. Look at our new background. It's super cool. All right. I dig it a lot. I got the new intro video we rolled out this morning. I'm going to be working that into the rotation. So we've got a lot going on the stream. We're trying to make it better for you guys. If you have sincerely any suggestions for what we can do to make the stream better, email them to me at rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. If you have anything that you think will make the stream better, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. We are trying to make this thing absolutely take off. And I've got some ideas that I'm trying to put into place. So make sure you do that. Stay tuned because we are going to be announcing a very big project I'm excited about with the Greenville Triumph coming up in the next few days. We're actually going to do a watch along party. So for those of you that are maybe football adjacent, soccer adjacent, but haven't made the full plunge, we're going to give you a secondary opportunity to watch along with the broadcast that hopefully we can be a little more involved with. So that's coming up soon. If that goes well, I am hoping we're going to start doing the same thing with some of the other organizations around the area, the Swamp Rabbits, Furman football and basketball. So we'll let you know how and where all that's going to go as it continues to develop. And then outside of that, man, anything you guys want, anything you guys need, anything you think will make the show better, hit us up. Let us know. We always want to make sure that it's what you guys want and you guys enjoy. All
the way. Also, if you are a sponsor, a potential sponsor, make sure you contact the powers that be and, be a part of the show that way.
You can just let me know. I'll set up the talk. Just let Lonzo know. He's in charge of everything.
Just, money's a good thing.
True. It is. In the meantime, again, have a great weekend. For those of you I see, I'll see you. For those of you I don't, back here Monday. Thanks for watching. Couldn't do it without you. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.